Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome. Good to see you all here.
Hi. It's Monday. It's the beginning of the week.
Oh, it's so much more than that, folks. It is so much more than that. This is a glorious day. I'm in a very, very, very good mood right now. Many things you might think, oh, it might be this, it might be that. No. It's an array, folks, an array. That's right.
Well,
yes.
Let us know. Do you know? Or are you teasing us?
Oh, you're not aware of what happened? We're going to do like the 80s show and that? Please tell me more.
Tell me more.
Oh, well, I insist on telling you a little bit more. Last night, first of all, we'll go to that one, right? Because this was a great feel-good story, if I may say so myself. Anybody who didn't get to join us last night, we were done. You know, I wasn't feeling that good. Set my pajamas. I'm watching, and the live stream comes up recommended. I haven't seen this channel in a little while, and he's live. And I find out he's getting close to 100,000. And you know what? After a bit of talking, I asked Xenia and said, let's go on and see if we can get him there, because we're having a bit of a trouble show. Everybody, even the big channels, can get in these problems. He's been on since 2008. And man, did you guys ever come through. That's right. Traveling Clot last night, all thanks to all you guys, we got him over 100,000, folks, in 32 minutes. That's right, 32 minutes. We were able to get him over. It was 130 he needed around when we went on.
Yeah.
And we not only got him to 100K, we got him to 100,028, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of people were checking his video. I see the comments this morning, went looking through his stuff, which is commendable. He has an awesome channel. Great big thank you and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, so he got back in touch with us again today. He actually just wrote back about 30 minutes ago and says he'd love to be a guest on here as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Maybe you can just quickly say what's our connection. Or lack of.
We have never spoken to him before, had no connection with him. We've watched him for the last couple of years. We were interested at one point on the idea of maybe doing travel a bit by freighter ship. That's kind of a niche thing that was out and hard to find information. And sure enough, he did it. So that's how we found him originally. He travels on a dime around the world. It's not one of these, like, you know, 5-star resort things and all that. It's just real bare bones traveling. It was so cool. So that was really cool last night.
Yeah,
that was fun to be a part of.
Cool.
You know, everybody had a good time. They had a great time over there hanging out with him as well. And that's what it's all about.
You know, and we always say to expand our horizons and be here as viewers as well. We have watched him before we started our YouTube channel, continued on.
Yep.
And you never know. You never know how these connections, you know, you become from viewer to creator, and then you connect and halfway into real life as well, which is so amazing.
Well, people just jumped into it, and that's what's amazing. You know, there was none, you know, sometimes it's this in thing to hate on every big channel there is. There's a channel since 2008 that's worked his ass off to get there, and people treated him the same way as when we do in here when somebody needs help. With that said, folks, so many of you in here right now that I know were part last night, I know we're a bit later, so I just wanted to thank everybody that was a part of that. You guys are the true spirit of YouTube. Then, if it can't get any better, we knew it already. We waited. We bought our time, bid our time. What do you call that?
Bit our tongue?
No. We waited. We waited it out. We'll call it waited it out. That's right. Let's stick with waited it out.
Yes, I love that better.
And once again, because we got flagged last Sunday for our wheel, and you know, you get a couple of people like, oh my God, I told you the end was near for Pusa Series. I told you that wheel was going to break heaven and earth, and the fiery hells would appear, and all the brimstone and fire stuff. Guess what? Once again, folks, that's right. Vindicated. Sorry, wrong video. I thought I had it up. Oh my God. Where did it go? Where did my wheel go? Hello, wheel. There we go. Wheel has been vindicated. Yes, because we won indicated. There you go. So, checked over by YouTube, sent to their internal for further analysis because the video was already pulled down because of this whole thing. Flagged for no reason. Check the content. All good to go. So there you go. How's that? This is a good day. Now I'm happy. Yeah. That's right. So I want to share that with you guys. So I'm in a good mood. It's been a while since I felt this good. You know, we go. Because somebody just said we're close to 7. Guys, we're getting close to 7K. And yeah, anybody can help us out as well. I love that. You'll always drop if you notice 2 or so once you go live. We were at 68.91. That always happens. I've heard lots of other people saying that as well.
Well, it's just been an amazing weekend, really. You know, it started with a shout out from Dean on his video, which was amazing, and so thankful for that. And then these amazing things happened one after another. So, guys, you never know. You know, we go into lulls, but
that's right.
There's also ups as well.
That's right, guys. And you know, we've got to celebrate the good moments when they do happen. They are important because you know, there is like having a YouTube channel is a lot like having your own business, and there's going to be ups and downs all the time. And in the end, hopefully, they even out enough. There's more ups and downs, and from there on in, you know, you gotta feed yourself off those good moments to get you through the hard ones. So. Hope, respect, hello from New York City. Hello, how are you doing tonight? I know we had a good bit of people join last night from the Traveling Klotz channel. I'm not sure if you're one of them. If you are, either way, it is welcome and great to see you. So.
And yes, we're gonna guys say hi to everybody. We just wanted to announce the amazing news to you, but don't worry. We see you. We see what you're writing, and we're gonna go through your text and chats, and we're gonna say hi to each and every one of you in our traditional roll call. So don't go anywhere. You're not forgotten. We still see you.
That's right, guys. And make sure to hang around for our guest tonight. I cannot stress that enough. A really, really, really good guest. We have on Antony. Break the Twitch is going to be with us. Huge channel, huge podcasting. I mean, this guy is, well, he's a phenomenon, I guess is the only word I can really think of.
Oh, yeah. And I've been watching him, again, this is one of those, you know, YouTubers I've been watching before we started our YouTube channel. And I really need his advice on decluttering and organizing my time. And that's what we're going to be talking about, is decluttering our personal physical space, but also our mind, and living our own life, not just letting it pass by. Taking controls in our hands. So he's going to be joining us in a little bit of time. So excited to have him on.
Definitely going to be a great chat. Some of them, especially the podcasters, and that they're always good company. They, you know, that's they got that down to a science. So, hey there, Mickey, how are you? And Elite is in here, and Twitsy. I'm going to call everybody's name out in just a second. I just wanted to bring up those points. So yeah, I'm in a good mood tonight. I'm in a really good mood, you know. So
okay, now
Xenia doesn't want me to elaborate too much, so I know that already. That's why that
let's
okay.
Let's get back to the scheduling, and you never know where we pop up after that.
Yeah, you'll be surprised how I can tie it into a conversation. You might just hear the wheel come up again at some point. So.
So Andrew's going to be calling you, each and every one of you, to say hi. For thank you for joining us at the beginning of our stream. Just a reminder to hit that like button and share it out if you can. And if you're new, hit subscribe. We do appreciate. We are nearing 6,900.
Yep.
So we do appreciate if you do subscribe, if you like what you're seeing, and ring the bell so you know when we're on next. And I wanted to remind you about hashtag Blue Ranch Group selfies.
That's right, guys. It's not too late to get your selfies up. We'll take a look in just a bit. A selfie of you watching us. You can't do that, no problem. A selfie in general. You got merch or anything like that, put it on first. Let everybody see what you got going on. Here is the link. Just please make sure to use the hashtag Blue Wrench Group so us and everybody can see you. And that's just love seeing you guys' photos. I mean, it's amazing how many we've got. We could have a whole book just on selfies.
Yeah, I think we'll have to do like a release of a coffee table book or something.
Yes, exactly.
Definitely. Yeah. And usually you can see now the new edition of your selfies at the beginning of our stream. Today was a special one.
Yeah.
But usually you can see them.
I've got to refine that a little bit because it's just pulling too much resources, and that's saying a lot because this computer is built for the heavy haul. So I'm just going to work on that a little bit. So like I say, you're going to be seeing changes over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be trying new ideas and stuff. So, but that's what YouTube is all about, right? It's experimentation, going out there trying to make our craft better and better and better.
Constant work, that's for sure. That's for sure. Chapter on selfie inspired John. Yes. I already seen today's buy the merch.
And I want to congratulate Inspired John once again on hitting 1K yesterday. Yes. That was awesome. You guys over at Gillskill and stuff like that really nailed it. Awesome, my friend. You've been in for a while. How we really got to know Inspired John? I seen him last year go after 300 and some, help his mentor, I guess you call it, Michael Fire, get to 1K. And then instead of worrying about himself, he actually opened up a live stream to do it. And He won a lot of my respect that day. That's what the YouTube spirit is all
And
about.
he also interviewed me about living in Soviet Union, which I thought was a
Yes.
really great thing, since I don't really talk about that too much. So that was really amazing too.
He a really great guy to have on YouTube, and very good at what he does.
And
I want to say that
he
Very
always
good job.
promotes our merch too.
Yes, he does. He's our best sales rep.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
And he's not too hard on the price point for his commission either, so I got to thank him for that one.
I know. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again.
Speaking of merch, guys, we'll just take a quick look. Don't forget, that's right, I got everything moved around tonight. There you go, guys. We still have our hashtag Blue Wrench merch. You can find something for kids, for adults, for everybody in between. Even, yes, of course, even seamless custom Blue Wrench group socks. There you go. Look at that. Imagine how stylish at the office or out and about you would be in these wonderful socks. Yeah. And leggings. That's
Somebody
right.
asked you, what do you have on those leggings? And that's little blue wrenches.
That's right. All kinds of wrenches. All kinds
Where
of wrenches.
did you get them?
That's Xenia's work, and she did a very good job onto it. Because
thank you.
I'm not getting back into saying how I thought at first. No, I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not. We're not going to get into that.
No.
So, alrighty, guys, time to say hi to everybody here. There's so many great channels, and I want to thank you all for coming. Of course, in true Arena Rock style, you guys deserve an echo welcome. And I want to say a great big hello to XO AIM. We got the wheel back. Whimsy Creek Art, how you doing? The wheel has been vindicated. West Haven, always and forever. YouTube okay to our wheel. Whaleya's in the house. Our wheel of shoutouts is still going. Where's my music? Where is my music? Why is it playing so quiet? Oh, okay. I was wondering. I thought I hit something off for a second. Vorsarex is in here. The wheel's back. Victoria's Diary. The wheel's back. Ultrasonic Gaming. The wheel's back. Tyreek's Eating Show. The wheel's back. Tootsie Rolling Stone Travels. Twosome Discoveries. Tony's Reviews. Tim Arskog. How are you? Terrell's Artwork Channel's in the house, folks. Tammy Minda. Stingray Steve. Skyview Walker. Sky Pilot. Shoes Life. Shay Slays is in the house. Shane Rito. Sawyer in the middle. We have Paul's Q in the house. Mickey XOXO is in the house. Matt Cook Oregon is in the house. Larry Johnson, Two Creeks Outdoors, is in the house. Cardoso Media is in the house. Juliet Miranda, who did her first live interview last week, did a fantastic job, is in the house. She's also just one of the top 200 podcasters on iTunes. I don't know why she'd be good at live interviews. No clue whatsoever. Juliet O'Brien, how are you doing? Juliet and Jenny O'Brien. Oh my God, I just mixed the two up. Sorry, good mix though. Jenny O'Brien is in the house. I'm excited because why? We got the wheel back. Vindicated. Jacqueline Brown is in the house. Jackie Haru Food Reviews is here. Always great to see you. Izzy Fam is in here. Always a pleasure. Inspired John, who just hit 1K. Always great to have you in. Hope Respect is in here. Great to see you. Heritage Farms Texas is in here. Grant McIntosh is in here, folks. Grant McIntosh, there's the man. Good Cemetery's Gone Bad is in here. Gabriel Z is in here. Elite Grooves is in here. Eileen Villiers the Fam is in here. Dominique Williams is in here. CPAP Trucker is in here. Country Girl Paranormal is in here. Sherry Awesome Sunsets Travel is in here. Cerebral Killer is in here. And Abandoned City Camel Crew Explorers is in here. We got the wheel back. Great to see you guys. Great to see you guys, each and every one of you. So awesome for you to join us. I know I missed some names. Please say hi and highlight it, our name, so we can definitely give you an arena size welcome. Like Farmall Fanatic. That's right. You know him as Boom, the man on fire doing the shout outs and the farm videos and that. Great stuff, man. He is awesome. Definitely. Energy I can't even begin to tap into. I think he's like 20 and just tries to talk like him and I are in the same age bracket. Uncle Mikey's in the house. How are you doing? It's great to see you. Great to see you. Living the Dream is in here. Cheers to you and great to see you. Great to see you. Hope you're having an awesome day. Drone Shots in the house. Crew for Life is in the house. Painting the Roses Red is in here. Stingray Steve. Ultrasonic Gaming. Artsy Studios. Who am I missing? Joyce McGuire is in here. Deer Park Farmstead, who's just been killing it, guys. He's been killing it. Yeah, it's good to see you, Deer Park. How you doing? Crew for Life. Triple Jesus in the house. I'm trying to make sure I get everybody. Hubert Gunpowder. It's always great having you in. Hope you're doing well. Goose's Cooking Channel. Goose. My daughter's Goose. I always like the way she says it. Anybody else, hon, that you see that I missed?
Oh, I think you covered everybody. Well, if we missed you, say hi again. Tornado, hope you feel better today. And yeah, guys, share and like.
That's right, guys. Help us out. The algorithm has been a bit slow lately. You guys can help us out a lot, and not just us, but any live stream, any videos you're into. Hit the like button, tweet it out, tell some friends to come on over and hang out. It's going to be an amazing conversation tonight, guys. We have the guru on Keeping It Minimal, guys, and he has a lot to share with everybody. Great time of year for this type of guy to come on, especially, you know, looking to, into spring. Hopefully it doesn't always feel like spring here.
No.
But, you know, getting there, wanting to get rest, not feel as cluttered, all that stuff. And he's a huge on the oh my God, I got the wheel back and traded off for being able to talk.
He has a huge community on his webpage where he teaches how to live intentionally. He talks about his 3 pillars and how to develop the habits for life that you control.
That's right, that's right. And I want to say, Mutt Nuts Reviews, how you doing? And UK Scrapper, how you doing? I see you, Mickey, XOXO, thank you so very much. Hope you're doing fantastic today. Another channel on the quick rise. I think we got pretty much everybody. If we didn't, my apologies. It's great to have you here. And to some discoveries, I don't think I said hi yet. Great to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. There we go.
And guys, I see already hashtag Blue Ranch Troop selfies pouring into Twitter. So don't forget to put yours there as well. It's never too late. Hashtag Blue Ranch Group. And if you put it on Instagram, don't forget to follow us on @Pusa Studios Live on new Instagram profile. And if you do that and put your selfie there, we're going to feature it on our stories and tag you in. So let's see what we have on hashtag Blue Ridge Group. You guys are amazing. Ray, Dominic, William. What?
So
Yeah.
there we go, guys. We have Elite Grooves. Elite Grooves. I think these are getting boring now. I just can't help but to play the living hell out of my guitar. Well, I love when you're playing your guitar. I love when I see anybody playing guitar. That is a fantastic shot. Thank you so very much. That is really cool. Awesome. Looking good, my friend. Sergeant Slaughters and Slot Machine videos. Very simple. Pusa Studios presents simple living, decluttering and organizing, breaking the Twitch. Oh my God, I love it. You always pick the right the meme. Thank you so very much. Thank you for all your support. All of you guys are fantastic. Jackie Herrer, I love this picture. It's such a throwback to the 70s and that. I think of like the old crime, the old spy video movies and stuff like that. It is so cool, so retro.
I love that.
Yeah, old James Bond era. Very, very cool. And there we are up with her both going TV and a laptop. I love it. Thank you so very much. And there, guys, is our big salesman. There he is. Buy Pusa merch. Love it. You guys are so amazing. Congratulations once again on passing 1K. There's Ralph Morick in the house. How you doing? Hope you're having a great night. And Irvin DePay Tourist, I see in there as well. Great to see you.
UK Scrapper is here. Triple J family, hello. Welcome here. Jacqueline Brown, good to see you guys. Welcome here.
There we go, guys. Yeah, it's not too late, and we'll check back after. So if you got your selfie, we definitely want to see it. Love seeing you guys' photos. You're amazing. And sometimes we even end up with pet night, and they just kind of happen spontaneously, but that's really cool.
Yes, Canadian Drone Hub is in the house as
No,
well. Hello.
Roger's here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, Roger's here in the house, guys. How you doing, Roger? I love hanging out with Roger in the morning. One of my guilty pleasures as charged. So yes, I always have a great time there.
Butterfly Whispers Paranormal. Hello, hello. UK Scrapper, Sky Pilot. Guys, you're amazing.
Sky Pilot, what's going on, my friend? All the way down under. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We've had a really weird one. It was so warm yesterday. Antony was cleaning the car, and I went out with no jacket. And today it's like 0 degrees Celsius, slush, rain, everything, and all that.
Slippery stairs, people falling down because it's ice on them. It's not an April Fool's joke. No,
it feels like one. I wish it was one.
Fox Art and Cartoon, hello and welcome here. I see there's some RC footage might be there.
Nice.
Welcome here. Farmal Fanatic is this here, living the dream. Yes. Well, guys.
I hope you're feeling better, by the way, Farmal. I hope you're on the mend. He had it just like Andre, like the fever and chills and everything else and all that stuff.
Yes,
awful.
Everybody's having it lately.
Awful disease. So, Puša 7K. Pusado 7K. I like that. We're getting there. You guys have been awesome to us already. We took a good jump, and it's feeling good. And remember, guys, once again, in case you didn't hear, Vindicated. Why is this not working? What is going on? I'm firing my producer. The wheel is back. There's the video that was flagged, and it was flagged because somebody got mad at us. And you know what? It's back up, and YouTube took a look at it because they had to make sure that it wasn't any spam or anything like that. And all points are clear, good to go. So you know what? Vindicated. And we've been down this road before. This is not our first one.
No.
We even have a video called Vindicated with a picture of the one on to it.
Yeah, we could have a series of that.
Yeah, exactly. Our own playlist of just Vindicated videos.
Yeah, you would think people would get tired of it. But you know what? This is not the first rodeo. As we said right after that happened. So.
Yep, exactly.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, you can go over. There's a video featured on our homepage called Seriously.
Yeah.
We talk right exactly about it. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
You know, haters up there. Yes, exactly. And West Haven, always forever. You're right. And thank you so much. And much love to you, by the way. I don't think I got to say hi to you earlier. And Bayou Scratchers, great to see you in here. Howdy to you. Hope you're having a fantastic one. And living the dream, thank you so very much. We do appreciate it. I missed the cruise horn. Oh, it was playing.
Cover your ears just in case. You never know with him. Here's the question. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, what a nice thing to say. Thank you so very much. It's love a collab. It's the gambler's choice. Okay, well, thank you so much for checking us out. And all. Oh, right. I know your channel. Yes. Okay, so you changed that in the name. Well, good to have you in. Thank you so much for checking us out. Bayou Scratchers, just please, no asking. Guys, here's the short, especially on the night when we have guests, but any night, please, there is something to keep this the wheel vindicated in anything else we do. And here it is in short. Please, here's the rules. No asking for subs, no sub for sub, no links, no goals, targets, announcing going live, no self or other promotion for you or others. Just take your time, and if you do meet somebody in here, that's fine. Just write out a sentence or two. Hey, I don't know. Hey, Farmal Fanatic, I just checked out your video. Man, I love those tractors as well. I subscribe to your channel, and great to meet you. You can use the word subscribed. You don't have to cover it with rubber boots or bells if you put it in a full sentence or two. Just keep talking to everybody as if we were just in real life, and everything will go amazing. So thank you so much. Yeah, you can say the S word as long as it's not on its own. The problem is if you say I sub to you, I subscribe to you, just like that, then it's a problem. But so is I rubber booted you, and so is I 3 bell emojis you. Just put it in a sentence. You tell people exactly what you did. Everything is in context, so that's all it is. And no worry. Sorry I was self-promoting, man. I just really never mind. Okay, sorry, I must have missed the beginning of that. So, Not Butterfly Whispers Paranormal. How are you? Great to see you as well. Drone Kings in Darwin. How are you? Great to see you as well. Great to see you. Getting lots of the Down Under crowd. Love that. It's been really great to connect with so many people from down there as well. Awesome people. I think we were saying that before, like Canada and Australia and New Zealand. We have so much in common in a lot of ways. Bells are now spam. At least anything is spam. Like, say tonight we invented, I don't know, our own word, blob, and we just, with 3 B's at the end of it, and we wrote blob with 3 B's at the end of it 350 times every 20 minutes on here. The algorithm's looking for a pattern. There's nothing is written in stone that it can't be a trigger word. It's not the word, it's the way it's being used. Just write out in a sentence or two what you're doing, and that covers all of it. It's the repetition that's triggering off the algorithm. And yeah, well, people will say, well, I see them, someplace got taken down for using it. Well, yeah, they were writing, I sub you, over and over and over again. And that's the whole problem, is just writing these little 1-2 line things. 1-2 word things, excuse me. Just fill up the characters. Write 150 characters about...
Be a human. Write a sentence. Everything is a context, guys. No matter what you write, anything can be spam.
Yep, that's right. Context is everything, guys. It really is. So, just a little thing for that. And it's not that a big thing. Like, if I go into a channel and somebody says, don't say the S word, we say rubber boot here, I will gladly say rubber boot. I'll never use it just that word. I'll still put it into a sentence. But I respect them. It's their channel. They have a right to do it that way. I just worry sometimes when people are human. Maybe. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I just worry when somebody says that, thinking that they're like, I got an ironclad coverage now, and they don't have nothing to worry about. There is something to worry about when it's like that. Anytime. No matter what the word is or what the emoji is. Alyssa Parrish, how you doing? Great to see you. Great to see you. Smurfalicious as well. Oh my God, so many great people in here. Smurfalicious all the way from the beautiful east coast of our country. Love seeing you. Manji, housewife, how are you? Great to see you. Great to see you. Pied Piper of Hamilton. I don't like that name. Pied Piper of Hamilton. That's a really good name.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool. Great to meet you. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. We're going to get our guest on, guys, in just a minute. So let me take care of that. Xenia, I will pass the torch over to you.
Yes, guys, I just wanted to let you in on tomorrow's stream today. Tomorrow, we're going to have Tech Talk Tuesday, as always, but it's going to be a special kind. We're going to, of course, talk about the latest news and answer all your questions about YouTube, and especially, of course, also the new ruling on 1000 and mobile streaming. And if you still have any questions after a week after updates, then we are here to answer those tomorrow. But we also are going to do a very interesting case study. It's something for the first time we are doing during the live stream. We have done that in private conversations with some of you guys here, but we decided to bring this one in public because it's not only the channel itself and what we are going to be doing tomorrow. I think it's going to be of great use to you, but also the story behind the channel that comes with it. It's very inspirational as well. And I must say, I'm going to still keep the secret for the channel, but it's very entertaining person as well. I think it's going to be a lot of interesting conversations tomorrow as well. So it's kind of a mix of Tuesday Tech Talk, shout out, wheel, review, and interview. Kind of all of our shows in one tomorrow. Something new that we are doing tomorrow. So I hope you can join us tomorrow for 7 p.m. Eastern. Put it in your calendars. Add notification, ring the bell, and I know sometimes it doesn't ring, so add it into your Google Calendar. Put it in a reminder on your phone, so you can be here tomorrow. It's going to be really exciting, really interesting tomorrow. And guys, we are waiting for our guest. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't yet, and of course share it out if you haven't as well. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email, Messenger, Discord. Yes, even on Discord. I just posted it on our Discord server. If you haven't joined that, you can always do it. And guys, well, we are gonna be welcoming our amazing guest real soon, Antony from Rig the Twitch. He's gonna be putting all us in the control of our own lives, hopefully.
I'm looking forward to this. I love anything like this, right up our alley. So, without further ado, I guess it's that time.
Yes.
Welcome, Anthony. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Hi.
Doing fantastic. Great to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well, We've been going through a big process right now. We're getting ready to actually sell our house. And so it's been a bit busy around here, that's for sure.
But less busy than others because you're on the minimalist scale, so you have less things to worry about than the other ones.
Exactly. You know, we met with our realtor and he walked through and he said, you know what, you don't actually have that much work to do for the showing. So
I love it.
This must be the easiest job ever for setting up the house.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're a realtor's dream, so.
Thank you so much for making the time. I know
Yes.
you're in your busy schedule and with moving. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
no, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to talk to you and take some questions and do all kinds of stuff here.
Thank you.
This is going to be awesome. We got to talk. It was just briefly yesterday, but I mean, that's what I was telling you, Xenia. I'm like, you know what? Nice thing about podcasting. Anybody's done podcasting, they're good to go right out of the gate, you know. And so not only are you great with realtors, you're great with interview shows as well. So that's two
good.
for two.
I've had some practice.
I love it. And you are very interesting to listen to. You're very knowledgeable, but you're very accessible at the same time in the way you speak. I find that a lot from your videos that I've seen in that. It's not, you don't talk down to people. You're very engaging. And a real love for what you do. I like that you bring that across into it. It's a passion.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. That's really everything I'm going for. I want to be as helpful as possible, but I feel like a lot of the time, if you're talking about like tiny houses and, you know, living out of a backpack, it feels so inaccessible. And how is that really going to help? I think it can be inspiring at times, but my goal has always been to do things that are small, that are approachable, that really can make improvements in our day-to-day existence. So yeah, I really do appreciate that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You know, I feel that way. And that's what's comforting about it. Because like, it's funny you mentioned that about small houses and that. A lot of that tends to be very niche driven and very, I don't want to say over the top, but I mean, it does, because it's a huge commitment to agree to do something like that. And I think it's interesting to the general viewer, but also scares them off from maybe taking the early steps to making changes, where you tend to go into that field more, which is more accessible to a larger mass.
For sure. It's you know, dreaming is fun and it's important too. It's really important. But the other side of that is that getting to those eventual things, like right now, we're selling all of our stuff and we're selling our house, but that's after 5 years, like 5 years of choosing this path intentionally, getting rid of some clothing here, a little bit of stuff there. And we're going to have stuff again. It's just that we're leaving the state of Minnesota. And so it's just going to be the best for us to just sell everything and figure out the next step once we get there.
So are you starting completely from scratch, so to say?
Pretty much. What's funny is I never expected this. I've always been a very middle of the road, practical approach person. Like, you don't have to go overboard, but implement these small things. And it's worked well for me just to help in day-to-day life. And this is much further than I ever expected. But I'll tell you what, it's been made a lot easier, like you said, simply because we've been just working on editing our life day to day as we go. It's allowed us to become full-time video producers and YouTubers and podcasters and all these things that have been made possible just because we made these small little changes each day, a little bit here, a little bit there, and just sticking with it over time. That's been the biggest thing.
I think lots of people are only wishing they could start from scratch again.
Yeah.
I think lots of us are secretly, thinking like, I wish I could do this again.
Yeah.
And very rarely it actually happens. So we're looking forward to hear your story. Yeah, I already jumped ahead.
Do you want to take us back a little bit and just tell us a little bit about yourself? We always say we're not Oprah. We don't make people cry. If you want to start in junior high, elementary, teen, whatever you feel comfortable at, and just so everybody knows you a little bit better.
My story starts in 1985 when in St. Joseph Hospital in Michigan, I was born. It was a cloudy Tuesday, and my dad said it was raining that day. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was
So
going to cue the music. I was getting ready for this.
it was a dark and stormy
That's
Tuesday,
right.
my dad says. So really, the important bit is as I was working in my career, I was working for the bike share system here in Minneapolis. So the public bikes, they're getting more and more popular now. And I had a good job, and I was just kind of comfortable there. We had our house, we everything was going fine, and I was finding that I was buying a lot of stuff on Amazon. This is sort of
Mm.
where this whole idea of break the twitch came from, and a lot of boxes were coming, and here and there it was like $10, $20, not really big amounts of money in any one push, but it was definitely a frequent thing. There were boxes coming to my office, boxes coming to the house, little gadgets, electronics, cables, just little things that I felt like I needed that would be helpful. But in the end, it ended up just kind of being more and more stuff. Um, and it was a discussion with my wife, Amy, that led to the realization that this was actually more than I thought.
Hmm.
That led me to go into my Amazon.com account and download a full Excel document of 4 years of all of my Amazon purchases.
Wow.
So the previous 4 years of every purchase I'd made. And the gist of it is that after some charting and careful analysis, I think I bought like 350 some odd items over 4 years, which is a shipment coming to the house like every 3 days, basically, for 4 years, right? Or something like that, 3 to 4. And so the other big thing was it ended up being a lot of money. So now these days you can get just about every household item on Amazon, right? Anything you want. But for me, this was kind of before that time. We weren't getting paper towels and other convenient things on Amazon. Not that you should necessarily, but but at the time in my mid 20s, we look back and over that 4 year period, I spent something like 12,000 US dollars on Amazon.
So
And this was stuff, right? It's so much. And this is all stuff that I really didn't even know. Like at the very high end, there was $1,000 laptop, which I still have today, a MacBook Air.
Wow.
But below that was like, not much higher than $50. So it was these small, inconsequential, I want it, not much, click. And that's where the idea of the Twitch came from. So it was this unintentional action, this thing that was fulfilling a desire that I had, a discomfort. But if, sorry, my dog's barking. But so it was this discomfort that I had that I was solving very quickly. But obviously, that solution doesn't actually last very long. We have to figure out the underlying issue with that discomfort. So that's where the idea of the Twitch was born. I realized these things were not helping me, and the Twitch became this definition of an unproductive, unintentional response to a form of discomfort, and that discomfort obviously shows up in many different ways.
It's amazing with Amazon how it's become like the accessory driven gadget like small price tag gadgetry that's just draws you in every time. It's that shopping therapy on a completely new level with almost no guilt at the time. Like you say, until you sit down and look at a spreadsheet, it must be one sobering moment when you were looking at it.
Oh, it was definitely deep because I'd always talked about wanting to travel more or like go visit friends, family, do some things. There had been some family trips and a wedding that I was like, I don't think I can make it to this. Finances are a little tight. And then you look at something like that, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
There it is. It's in that list. All my experiences, the things that I wanted, or even more financial security, it's right in that list. Clicked away.
I love it. I'm so hooked on what you're saying already. That's kind of been my life thing onto it, and Xenia and I sometimes I think I was a bit too bearing onto it, and I had to stand by and see it through her eyes.
I think I learned a lot through it, but yeah.
I like to think in the end, but at first maybe I was a little too pushy onto it, and then I had to sit back and, like you say, look at the underlying reasons, as you say. And it's been so much better. To me, a cluttered place is a cluttered mind. And even if I was to put everything here that's in the way in one drawer, I know it's in the drawer. And I find the same with finances. I find all those things like that. Clutter just adds to mind clutter. Maybe it's the OCD raging in through my veins, but that's why I actually find it stimulating. When you listen to ASMR to help sleep, listening to you talk about this is actually making me feel calm. It's like somebody gets it, So.
No, I just was saying in the chat to somebody, people actually saying, thank you so much for this topic. It's so great. And I said, I actually needed it right now. Yes. This is the right time of the year. I needed it. I have been watching you even before we had all this here. As inspiration for my decluttering, spring cleaning of my head and house, and learning together with this guy here of how to get rid of things that I don't need. You've been along my path, so I'm so happy to have you here today. I think when you mentioned about having the underlying issues, and that's the difference between us two, for example, I'm originally from Latvia, which is a post-Soviet country. And, I was growing up with my mom, who always tend to save everything, little pieces of ribbon and things like that. Not because she was a hoarder, but because you weren't able really to get it, right? So you never really knew when would be the next time you would get that thing. So you saved it just in case it was needed. And because I was growing up like that, I kind of took over that habit as well, which, I mean, it's not really necessary anymore living now, and especially in Canada. So it took a while, I think, to get rid of that underlying... It's a
state of mind, not
underlining state of mind. Yes, exactly. Just in case. And I think decluttering it or changing that state of mind definitely helps, not just with your physical space, but with my physical space, but with mind as well. And that's why I like that connection that you always make when you do your videos or talk about it, is about the connection between those two.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's always a balance with this kind of stuff, the saving it for later or the just in cases, right? Those sorts of things. There's always a balance with it. And a lot of this is the nature versus nurture, how we end up with certain tendencies and different things. But yeah, it is interesting finding that balance. And I have found that for me, minimalism, it has helped me focus better. It has helped me get distracted less. I still get distracted. I'm human, just like anything. And we have the internet at our disposal, right?
Yeah,
so
the ultimate distraction.
Infinite information stream that is unlimited and bright, and it's just a lot. But I will say that overall, the environment being less cluttered has helped me feel better overall, be less stressed, and just sort of have more mental peace, I think, because I have a lot going on up here. And so when it's a little more peaceful on the outside, it really helps with that. Yeah.
That is so well said, and so true. It is a state of mind.
Yeah.
And you make better judgments when you're not cluttered in your head as well as like in your day-to-day life. I think it just makes for a calmer, more balanced way of living.
For sure. The whole thing with Break the Twitch is about minimizing distractions and doing more of what matters. And that's obviously going to be different for every single person that defines what matters to them. But realistically, minimalism is a big part of that. And it just has to do with clutter being distractions. Yeah. And if there's just fewer distractions, it means that there are less options for how to direct your attention. And that gives us a better fighting chance to actually choose the things that reflect our values, the things that are important to us, that we always talk about being important, but it's just so easy for little things to drift in and pull away from those core things that we want. We're human, and these things, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, all of these different services are purely designed to capture our attention and pull it away from whatever it is that we're doing, right? Like, it is designed to get us on there, to be as long on there as possible. Yep. And keep us there. And they're using every possible psychological trick to do it. So it's not even our fault, right? But this is just our modern sort of attention economic environment that we have to figure out how to navigate.
I mean, that's where a lot of money goes into. I mean, that's most of their marketing plan is on the creating the subconscious idea that we can't live without it. We got to be there, like you say, as long, and every product is so desperately needed in our life. How did we get through it to this point without having it?
We have Living the Dream saying that she is on the no buy for a year to break my addiction to consumerism. I can replace items that I use up, but must be no plastic, eco-friendly, ethical item, and not buying anything else except that for a whole year.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
It's a big commitment.
Congratulations.
That's huge. The no buy thing is increasing in popularity. For me, that's how I started. I did 90 days, no online shopping at all, because you sort of, it's just like eating sugar. The first couple of days are like, you get kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's a withdrawal.
And then it's a withdrawal. And then you go a couple more days and a little bit more, and you sort of allow your brain to reset that short circuit that happens when we just get the thing we want really quick.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, a year is tough. I have a friend, my friend Kate Flanders, did that. She did a full year. She even wrote a book about it, The Year of Less. Wow. And she had great success with it. So
it's an amazing commitment. And I think people have to pick levels of commitment that's big enough. It's like dieting. Some can go full-fledged into the biggest, hardest diet going. Some need to just kind of cut back a little bit. And it's just I'm assuming what you're saying is the best thing is just to start making some steps, no matter how big or small, just something to kind of test the waters. Or if you feel comfortable enough, you can go even into the deep end, as long as it doesn't discourage you.
Yes. The biggest learning outside of removing distractions for me has been I'm always start too big, always. And that the smallest increment of whatever it is that you want to do with your life is still doing that thing.
Yeah.
Which is very different from not doing that thing at all and talking about it, right? So I'd always go too big. I'd try to work out too hard. It'd like hurt my shoulder or something, and then inevitably have to stop.
Yep.
So yeah, the most effective thing that I've implemented in my own life too is just slowing down, just one thing at a time, just work on it, to make it rhythmic, you know.
Such a good message.
To make a habit, right? And you started with going to the gym. Was one of your things that you started making a habit. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I probably went a year and a half or so without working out and eating not great. There were some pretty stressful times a while ago. This is about a year or two ago at this point, but it really just kind of culminated in making a decision with my wife that we would go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week and just show up. No matter what we did, we would just kind of go, take it easy, show up. And that really just helped turn around a lot of stuff. And with doing all the things now, we haven't been quite as consistent on 5 or 6 days a week, but 2 to 4 is still for sure happening. So it's having that foundation allows you to kind of ease into other areas and times when it might be harder to do the full thing, but you sort of have that base to rely on. It can be really helpful.
Right.
This was one of those ones where I don't know that I necessarily have like tips or tricks or things like that, other than just like, I kind of got fed up. You have to sort of just get fed up and want a change and realize you need to do something to feel better. And that's what it was for us about a year and a half ago now, that we started going back and just, just getting in there. That was the biggest thing, just showing up. If we walked through the door, that was a win.
That's an awesome way to look at it. I love that because, like you say, you've already done the commitment by walking in the door, not judging by how much you've done when you've gotten there, but at least showing the commitment to going and making an effort is a lot less chances of being let down versus saying, well, if I do 20 sit-ups and presses and come up with a list, a page long, and you miss 2 of them, well, then I kind of screwed up. Because I'm like you. I go into everything full, or like you did. Everything is full force, and it's very easy to be let down that way. You could diet all week and everything's going good, and then have one chocolate bar and like, well, I just screwed that day up. So, and then you sink and you end up eating 3 or 4 more things that day because you feel, well, I've, pardon the term, pissed away the day, so might as well make it, the depression kicks in instead of the, oh, well, you just did that little bump, keep going. That's,
right.
So, she's better doing that part than I am. I gotta say, she's more she finds the motivation and things easier.
Yeah, but that's why we like you have the clutter stuff, and I have that. We even know ourselves out.
It's a good partnership. Yeah,
so.
There's always that dynamic.
Yeah, we gotta watch each other and keep each other going on that stuff. So,
but you know, you said you gotta just get fed up with things, but sometimes people don't, and sometimes people, and it doesn't matter really if we talk about gym or decluttering, you know, mind or the house, you know, or live in, I would say, denial of saying, oh, you know, I'm enjoying it, but it's obviously they're not. So how to get out of that? How to make that step towards, no, this is not what I want from life.
I got to step in, guys, for a second. I just checked if something didn't look right. We just had a big server crash. We're back. I don't know what happened. I just checked. Everybody lost, almost everybody. So if that happens, please come back in.
YouTube shut down again.
Yeah, please hit the like button. Please tweet it out, all that stuff. Man, every channel we live stream has got like one person into it.
Nice.
We're doing okay. We're at 35 and climbing again. So sorry to interrupt you. I just had to tell everybody that. So
you're good.
You gotta love YouTube. It's always so such a great help when
very
you're
reliable.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you pull somebody out, or how do you pull yourself out? Because you kind of, you know, we tend to live in this bubble of denial. You know, everything is fine. I love shopping on Amazon. I love all these things around me. You know, I don't want to go to the gym. I just love the way I am.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I'm by no means like a certified counselor or mental health professional in any way. So obviously there are going to be things there that will help a person kind of break through some of that sort of stuff. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is you have to want to change something yourself, or you have to not be totally satisfied. We can be in denial, obviously, right? And there's a certain element of like just a drive, I think, that comes with wanting to explore this stuff, wanting to pursue these things. I mean, obviously, it's easy to just kind of buy self-help books and buy different things, and that's just a one-click solution as well. It feels like you're doing something, but you're not actually really. You're just buying something. You're just spending money, unless you're using the materials, obviously. I think. Yeah, there has to be some sort of trigger, something that makes you realize that you need to make a change, right? And if that's not happening, it's really hard, especially as a partner or a loved one, to get that other person to recognize those sorts of things without some sort of major ultimatum. I think if it's a crisis situation, right, it really depends. But, you know, the biggest thing that I always tell people, because one of the biggest things that comes up with decluttering is, how do I get this person, wife, parent, husband, to also get on board with this and start decluttering? Yeah. And the realistic thing here is that you really can't change someone overnight into getting them on board with something. Yeah. And the biggest thing that I've always told people and explained in terms of what worked for us and what works for most of the people that I see go through this is simply the idea of being living proof. Like, be living proof of what's possible, be happier with your own stuff being lessened, live the talk, walk the talk, I guess would be the appropriate expression, and then let that influence your world around you, meaning the people that are close to you, and let people ask you why you're happier, why you feel better, you know, and then, well, you know, I've been decluttering and feels good to donate stuff. There's a need in the world. Other people need the stuff that we take for granted, honestly, that shoved in a closet somewhere. It's like, we can give that thing new life by letting someone else love it again.
Yes.
And so there are a lot of different ways to get motivated around this stuff. That's some of the stuff that we do in the member community. We have a Break the Twitch member community that supports our podcast. And like, we do these audio series every month that are focused around decluttering and inspiration around why you would want to do this stuff. So that's one of the big things we talk about, is like, we can breathe new life into the stuff we own and don't use by letting it live again with someone else. And that's a big thing that we tend to miss.
That's that was a big part for Xenia starting to get on board more with it, was the idea of giving more of it away and not just throwing it out meant a lot to her. You know, because I gave it a purpose, and I get that more. And I mean, as much as I like to give it away, I'm like when I go into a cleaning rant, I guess you call it, something, you know, you go to get something in the closet, it's like, that's it, it's going, and then just fire it all in the garbage. I just want it out.
It's because I find throwing out stuff is like waste. We tend to be in such a consumerism. They buy, throw. And it seems like such a waste of things, you know, for somebody who knows, you know, and not that nobody knows it here, but knowing how it is to live without those things seem like, you can't just throw it out, you know. It's such a waste, like, you know, of things. So it definitely helped me. To give it away, it wasn't, and I do throw some stuff out now too. It definitely was.
Some stuff she was gonna give away, and I'm like, I know it makes you feel better to give it away, but I don't.
Yeah,
they don't need. This is not gonna help their lives.
But it was a great stepping stone, I find. Yeah.
Like our kids every year for Christmas, that's something they have to do in the fall. Is they have to get rid of. We've told them that to get from Santa Claus when they were younger. Well, my daughter still does. You know, to get from Santa Claus, or then later on from you have to get rid of some to get some. And it's their job to do it. I don't want to do it. We don't do it from. They have to be part of it because I want them to grow up doing it. And if you do it on them, then it's just taking stuff when they're going to school and it's not there. It's explaining why. There's other kids that don't have it. Some kids might not get as much as Santa Claus might bring to your house, you know, and they deserve to have a Christmas too. It's that whole mentality and letting them get hands on with it. So.
Mm-hmm. That's a great way to do it, and also just kind of helping kids understand that reality is like, first of all, stuff is not forever.
Yes.
We buy stuff, and you know, we let stuff go. It serves us for a time. It serves the people we love for a time, and then it can go live on. But also, you know, there's a lot of the undercurrent, a lot of that stuff that I've been learning about recently about the consumerism cycle of, you know, talk about like the zero waste movement and all of these other things where we are realizing, okay, I'm going to have this thing that it comes in plastic packaging. It is made of plastic itself. They were burning fossil fuels just to create it in the first place. And like not even, you know, and all these things. And it does feel wasteful to throw those things away because it's like, then you're just trashing it. It's going even worse, right? It feels worse.
Of course.
But that has to, the end has to influence the beginning of the next as well. So experiencing that, feeling the pain of like going through a declutter, of donating things, of throwing things away, should, and it did for me, but it should help you align the incoming stuff as well. Yes. Because you're more closely associated with where that stuff, like if I buy this, where's it going to be 6 months from now? Yeah. Where's it going to be a year from now? Where's it going to be 100 years from now? Right? Like these are the small questions that we can help break the twitch with.
I love that. By
really questioning what kind of impact. It's really easy to, I think, to fall into this guilt hole of being miserable about everything we touch is going to destroy the earth. And like, you know, there's issues on a grand scale, obviously, but that doesn't really serve us either. You know, humanity, we need to be in good spirits, be good stewards of the things that come in and out of our lives, and explore what that means and how we can make small changes to improve it.
Well, fanaticism is always the same as anything else in life. You know, if it goes too far to one side or the other, you tend to lose most of the people. It's a fear mongering, and it's not that both use, and it's left or right, both use the same amount of fear in different ways to justify their way of looking at it. Nobody hears the message except for a small percentage. And it is that balance to take it seriously, but realize, you know, not be guilted every time. Oh my God, you just killed all the ducks by buying that. You know what I mean? There is a balance to it all, and I think people will go further with it when they don't feel all that pressure and get it more as you get it towards where they'll save money, it'll be easier on their mind to feel less clutter. All these things are tangible, instantaneous gratification that they can see from it. They're more willing, I think, to go further with it. So that's what I like your approach. So.
It is the turtle in the hare, you know.
Yes.
And it really is true. It's just the small things. It's like compound interest. You know, you always hear about start saving when you're young and you'll get the magic of compound interest.
Yeah.
I believe the same thing applies to making these changes.
Right.
To, you know, paring down, to being more flexible. The flexibility has a great ROI, has a great return. Financial flexibility, the spatial flexibility, like we turned this is a spare bedroom in our house, and it's a 9-foot by 10-foot room. We turned it into our podcast studio, and we didn't have room to do that 2 years ago. Wow. So, and that allowed us to have people here and put up panels and do the things that allowed us to start the business and take some more risk and have this asset. So clearing out the space really allowed us to leverage the assets that we had. And instead of our house feeling like a monthly liability that was, we were working for it, all of a sudden we had the space to make it also work for us, which is just like
it's a mind, unbelievable. I love it. I'm getting goosebumps when you're talking. You're right up my alley.
For us. I love that. Yep. I love it.
Yep. Our living room here has been turned into the studio. And we bought low-profile couches because they sit lower. And we bought one of those the tables that go behind a couch because they're higher than a coffee table. So that became the perfect height for a desk. Now we're modifying, putting in rollers, and we'll have a slider. And there's two 4x4, those Art Deco 4 cubby hole type living room shelves, and you can buy the boxes to put in them. So we've used that now. It's become all the filing cabinets inside that is all the dividers and everything. So it still functions as a living room. Everything here is clamped on, so if we don't need it, we can pull everything right away in 20 minutes at the most. We're back to a full-fledged living room, that you could entertain people and stuff like that. And
perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example. I mean, it goes back to the whole Fight Club thing, right? The idea of the stuff you own owns you.
Yes.
And so much we forget that the stuff we own is supposed to supplement our lives.
Yeah.
And instead, we spend a bunch of our lives serving that stuff. Even our living abodes, right? The constant redesigns, the constant painting aesthetic, like, oh, it's got to look a certain way. Now this trend is out. We got to read. There's a lot of ways to handle that, obviously, but we forget that we're working to buy the stuff.
Yes.
And so we're spending our lives to get the stuff, but then we're spending our lives maintaining or taking care of or moving or organizing the stuff. And it can get really out of hand. And so much so that it's just like, we need to refocus. All of us need to think as entrepreneurs, is this stuff actually serving me? And am I spending my time in a way that actually reflects like a return of positive net value, right?
That is very true, and sometimes stuff can be the biggest slowdown in your life. It can be a complete anchor till you spend more time dealing with all your stuff and working around to get everything done that it's costing you so much money in the end, and so much time and so much focus. I was a truck driver when I was younger, long haul. I attest a lot of that because then I worked in corporate office work later on and all that stuff. I attest the way I kept my office and the way I started to keep my life was based on truck driving, small space. Tons of paperwork back then. Nothing was computerized. It actually was the greatest place in the world to learn time and space management because you don't have a lot of room and you're in there for a week and a half. Then there was two types of truckers. There was the ones that you get in, you could barely see the seat. And then there was like mine. Like I would have to pull over and take 20 minutes, clean it all out if there was anything there. And then I felt good about myself. It is that calming, that euphoria, what do you call it? The endorphins that release. You can almost feel it happening, like having chocolate or something. Was that breathe? You could breathe again.
Yeah.
If that's, I don't want to sound too dramatic, but literally that's what it felt like. I can breathe now. I can think.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
The instinct to hoard and save food and resources served us in a pre-consumer society. It served us as humans. Yeah. Unfortunately, we still have that just absolutely ingrained in our DNA. And again, the culture has been leveraged to profit off of that and take advantage of it. And so we are fighting against nature here to breathe, but we also weren't designed to exist in an environment filled with all this stuff that isn't actually serving us.
Yeah.
we were just in nature. We were walking around, right, in maybe small domiciles or caves or stuff. I don't know. I'm not a paleontologist. I don't know. But, we were in nature. We were outside. We were doing stuff. We had some shelter, but we were not piled up full of stuff in tiny spaces. Like, this is just not normal. So you have to walk that line and figure out how to coexist with the modern culture and maybe fight against it a little. Yeah.
That is so well said. I was looking, I actually inherited a house this spring from my second cousin. He was 80 years old. And he worked for the dump in Toronto for 35 years. And they have warehouses where they put stuff before it's dumped that has to be destroyed for insurance purposes. When we got into that house, I have pictures of it. It was the garage. We ended up in the house in the garage getting 11 truckloads taken out of there.
So he was taking stuff from the work and bringing it.
Not only did he do that, he moved back to where he grew up, where this house was. He drug all this stuff from Toronto, Ontario, all the way down to Gaspé, which is eastern Quebec. So that's got to be 1,000 miles with everything. And then
a container, in a trailer container.
In containers, yeah, like everything. Everything he had for 30-some years he lived up there, he brought home. It took us 11, and it was mind-blowing. Like one length of the garage, I think, was 28 feet, if I remember exactly. It took me 7 hours to clean a path from the door to get to one wall. I found like a metal detector that was brand new, hanging on the wall that was so covered by stuff that you wouldn't even know it was there.
And you couldn't just fire things because you never knew, there could be some valuable things or, like memorabilia that we could give to the Legion or things like that, hidden in unbelievable places. So you couldn't just, throw everything out.
It was organized chaos for him. We had
we
had 150 some milk crates. We had 170 some pails. Mm-hmm. We had those blue bins. I think we were up to 108 or something. We counted filled.
Yeah,
it was terrifying. Like I was literally losing it by times. Like it was too much for me because I couldn't even process it because of what
Well, it took us a couple of weeks to go through the house and the garage. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That brings up a big question. That kind of process, right? That brings up a big question too that I've been thinking about a lot recently about legacy.
Yes.
Now, obviously, being left a home is a wonderful thing,
Mm-hmm.
being able to inherit something like that. But if, let's say, it's your parents or it's something where you first are emotionally dealing with losing that
Yes.
person, and then you're left as the responsible party to deal with their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of cases, like you said perfectly, you just don't know what stuff was prized, what stuff was meaningful.
Yep.
If it's just, there's just so much stuff, it's hard to process, and you're going through during a time when you're emotionally processing the loss of your family member. And so from the other side, we also, I think, need to think at certain points, what do we want to have our next of kin or other family members doing during the time when they, is this the legacy we want to leave? Do we want to leave confusing kind of thing? And unfortunately, that's just kind of what happens. And sometimes it's like there's some mental health aspects to hoarding and keeping all that stuff too that are going on, and that can be challenging. And so, there's a lot of different aspects about this that make it just something to think about, and obviously a challenge that a lot of people are facing. Yeah.
We went through that with Xenia's mom because, of course, she lived in Latvia and she passed away. She was only 55.
Oh, wow.
And it was a very troubling loss. Her grandmother had died 3 weeks before her mother. She has no more family left over there. She was an only child. Her dad is gone, grandparents. And we're over there, and what do you bring back on a plane? And we got to empty this out before we leave. And on top of it, a lot of people are Orthodox. You're not supposed to touch anything in the house for 40 days after they died to let the spirit rest. So she's getting neighbors on top of it coming over and knocking, why are you touching your mother's stuff? And that, so the guilt is there. And how do you figure what's worth it? How do you, in that short of a time, I watched her and I know it was hard. I had to be kind of the hard person into it because I knew we had to go. but it was heart-wrenching, you know, like what you figure, because at that moment everything is amazing, even if emptying the garbage, well, that's the last garbage she put in. Everything has a sentimental value at that moment.
And that made me think a lot about that, about the legacy. What you're saying now is what we leave behind, and maybe what something might be emotional, you know, a piece of paper that might be emotionally charged for us now might not be anything for somebody who's looking at it afterwards. So unless it's something really, really important and you write, you know, on the back of it, what is the meaning of it, then what's the point of keeping it? Nobody's going to know anyway. You know, but it's hard. It's hard. Like, I still have suitcase full of stuff that I never touched for years just because of how traumatic the whole experience was.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah. But how do you deal with that? How do you get rid of the things that are emotionally, that are not useful to you anymore practically, but they are with some kind of emotional connection? Because I think during the lifetime, especially if we keep living in the same place, we tend to grow around with little trinkets and things that don't have any value, but you know, a little memory here, a little emotional thing there, but then there's hundreds of them. Well, how do you get rid of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for me, there are three things that I found very helpful around that exact question. The first one is to not start with that stuff.
Right.
So decluttering, to me, how this has worked for me is that it has been like building a muscle, working out in the gym. You don't go for your first time and go try to squat 225 and, you know, break yourself.
That's true.
Right. You got to go and take it easy, with the goal being that, you know, you're like, all right, that was a good, nice warm up workout, getting back into it enough so that you can go again a day or two later and start that process of building the muscle that becomes that decision engine. Because if we're not used to making decisions about what we actively want in our lives and what we don't, stuff wise or otherwise, that muscle's atrophied. It's really small. And in a way, it's super empowering to slowly build that muscle. There's a great thing called a MINS game, where you get rid of one thing on the first day of the month, two things on the second day, three things on the third, so on and so forth. And that game works so well because you're effectively starting small, easy, and you're learning to make that decision. You're gaining confidence in your own ability to make that decision as well. And by the day 15, you're like, boom, 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 boom. It starts happening. So the first thing, don't start with the hard stuff. Start building the muscle with the easy stuff, the obvious, like, well, here's like a crumpled up Post-it note that I wrote on. So there's one, boom, right? It's not hard. And that will get that engine churning. You just don't want to start with the heavyweight. So that's a really good way to build up to that stuff. The second thing is something my friend Sarah Von Bargen, who runs a blog called yesandyes.org, yesandyes.org. And she does this thing she calls a victory lap. So she has sentimental things from her mother that were passed down to her, different things like dresses and different stuff like that. And what she will do is, she doesn't want to keep the thing long term. She will celebrate that item. So for example, if it's a dress, she will wear the dress. She'll go out on the town for drinks or go have fun with some friends wearing the dress. They'll take a bunch of pictures and like really celebrate it, honor it, and then put it to rest. And I thought that was really cool. So that's been something, right? You're like really honoring it. You're giving it its go and you're capturing it. So the third major thing with this is taking pictures, because it can capture a large percentage of that kind of memorabilia, that wanting to remember and connect to the physical thing. It can capture a lot of it by taking a picture with it. We did this recently with a lot of the stuff from our wedding six years ago. We've been holding on to things. Amy let go of her wedding dress recently. We laid it out nicely and took pictures of it, and we laid out all of the wedding cards with all the, you know, people's notes and things, and took a big picture of all of those and just captured it. Because are we going to hold on to that stuff forever? I don't know. Is she going to wear it again? No, she's not going to wear the wedding dress again. Styles change and things, you know, it just goes that way. So taking a picture has been scientifically proven actually to make the letting go process much easier. So those are three ideas that I think are very helpful when it comes to that stuff.
That is so awesome. What a great idea. That's actually, I was telling Xenia, because she has a bunch of scrolls where the kids drew, you know, these like 10-foot long things. I'm like, we can't keep these. So I said, we'll go down by the water here, get the kids to hold them up, take pictures or a little bit of video of them holding them so you can see them. And then that way you'll have like a record of it. So, see, it's a good idea.
Yes, it was
From
very good
right
idea.
That's why. Thank you for the validation on that one. So, that was
Namaste.
kind of a hard thing. Yes, it was a hard sell. So I appreciate that. I got you in my corner. So.
I like that. I know your philosophy of break the twitch also goes or is based on 3 pillars. Maybe we can talk more about that, like the whole thing of going minimalistic on taking control of your life.
Yeah, just in terms of like the three pillars of break the twitch. Oh yeah. So so the blog, when I started writing, started as a minimalism blog because that was very much the focus. It was, we need to declutter, we need to remove distractions and really create some space in our lives. From there, I realized that space would quickly be filled if I didn't do something positively with that space. The little things just creep into the space you create unless you do intentional things to allow yourself to build on that opportunity. So that's where the habits pillar came into play. And the actions of daily habits, I think it's kind of a gross word that, like, bad habits, you think it's kind of a heavy thing. But I like to think of habits as just as how you're showing up every day. Just the little ways you're showing up and the consistent ways that are reflecting the way you want to live and actually taking action on those, at big ways or small ways. And on the foundation of habits then is the idea of creativity. And creativity is something that the two of you are doing by having a live stream show and creating and looking for opportunities outside of just what you might expect. To me, that's leveraging creativity. And so that makes up the triangle of break the twitch and how one flows to the next. And then if you're not feeling very creative, you might need to remove some distractions and go back to the minimalism thing. And if you're feeling a little bit lost, it might just come down to doing some really basic daily habits and getting those back in gear to help get the engine churning again. And so that's the core concept and how Break the Twitch is built up to embody the 3 core principles: minimalism, habits, and creativity, in terms of how to live an intentional life.
So for somebody who is trying to acquire that would be something to work on at the same time. Would be the approach?
To me, this is the framework for life. This is the framework for living well. And I think you can work on all of them at the same time. You can declutter and work on building one small habit each day and then do some creative pursuit as well. But I think it's something that sort of builds upon each other. And you sort of need to start. It's like the bottom base of the pyramid is the minimalism. The second base on top of that is the habits. And then the little triangle at the top, I'm thinking of the food pyramid, from forever ago. But the little bit at the top is then creativity, because really creativity sits upon a foundation of not freaking out all the time and not feeling scattered and all over the place. So it's really, you got to start with decluttering, I think, is really where I would say just about anyone can start. And if you're feeling good with that, then you can run with it and you can go from there.
Okay, thank you.
That's all. Sorry, I'm still getting over a bad head cold, so I apologize.
Oh, no, sorry.
I had to excuse myself for sorry about that. You must be getting a lot, and I mean, we don't have to talk about exactly what they say, but I mean, I can only imagine how many emails, messages, and stuff people have been sending you since you started this on how you've changed people's lives and inspired them. I can only, do you have any idea how many? I mean, it must be a mountain full. It's gotta.
We get really lovely emails, and it's what makes a lot of this worth it. As you know, building something online and trying to just support yourself while doing it can be really challenging, and it's basically a full-time job on top of sometimes a full-time job.
Yes, sir.
And that can be hard. And so a lot of the time, we do get a lot of emails, and it means the world to me. To get those, just because it is, but less than you expect. I think a lot of the time people see just kind of someone on YouTube and just kind of imagine them there, like they're not like a real person. They're just kind of a personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think sometimes, maybe a small percentage of people will reach out and say, hey, I did this, or I love the podcast, or different things. But people are wonderful. And I love getting those emails.
They make it, they give you that feel sometimes. It feels, like I'm making a difference, I'm sure.
The biggest thing for me is like, I was not a big school person, and I dropped out of college, and I've had a very curvy career path. I'll put it that way. And so for me, I never knew like what kind of impact I would have on the world. Right. And so I think part of it is like getting an email from someone in Germany, or like having this conversation right now, or getting an email from someone in Brazil, saying like, hey, I show your videos to my students to help them learn English, or like stuff like that just blows my mind, because I never expected to be able to reach people all around the world that are learning from this stuff, and we're all learning together. Really, that's what's happening. And it's just, I don't know, it's wonderful. I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah. It's a great accomplishment. And you're right, because a lot of people get that's doing channels. It is a lot of work, really, for getting it off the ground and stuff like that. It's a full-time job within a full-time job. It really is for most people. Especially if you want to put a lot of time and effort into it, build it properly and that. And I mean, which you obviously have done, and then some. So
thank you.
I hope you get those moments where you really feel rewarded for what you've done, because you definitely have done something quite amazing.
Thank you. Hopefully more and bigger and greater as we go. But it's easy to put a lot of pressure on yourself that way. So,
well, I think you've learned how to manage pressure well as on top of it all. So I think you found, it just seems like it's brought such a balance, all of this, to your life. It's like you've reevaluated your whole life path from it. That's what I find so cool into it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's been Break the Twitch is very much my own self-education through this stuff and sharing it publicly, and so it very much has. I mean, it's allowed us to do this thing sort of as a business, and run this stuff in a way that feels really good and relatively non-commercialized, and make it something that helps. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You were going to ask something?
Well, I was also asked about the book. I know you have wrote the book as well, the Break the Twitch, a practical guide for everybody who is looking to tips on that. That's something as well. I think, I don't know.
Yeah, because that's going to be a process and a half. I mean, there's a lot to talk about there.
I definitely need to declutter the space to be creative and able to write the book. Is there any other books coming up soon with new tips?
For me, no. That book it's a very kind of like, there's not a whole lot of fluff in that book. In fact, there's pretty much none at all. It's 14,000 words, and it took me about a year to write. So most books are, 30, 40, 60,000, upwards 75,000 for a memoir. This is a book that you can sit down, read through. I tell stories, but you get the information out of this book, and you get what you came for. So that's really what it is. I don't know that I'm a natural writer. And so I don't know that there's going to be a book again in the near future. I think that's going to be the book for now. And we're just kind of focusing on making YouTube videos, doing the podcast, working on, we're kind of moving now. So we're going to reposition ourselves in a way that hopefully will allow us to get more folks in studio for the podcast, and just kind of creating visual and audio infotainment, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
One of your milestones goals was to get to 100K this year, right?
I know. And at the current rate I'm going, I haven't uploaded a video on my YouTube channel in like a month and a week, I think. So at the rate I'm going, I'm probably not going to hit it, but I need to, get back on it now that the podcast is done.
We're still at the beginning of the first quarter, just,
And I mean,
you're right. There's still time.
As you can see, he has a measly 65,304 folks. So, we're hoping he'll get monetized soon.
Yeah, hoping.
No, I really hope once you guys get settled that you get more and more videos coming back, because people definitely I'm looking forward to.
There's no worries about that. I mean, you have such a tangible product, and I believe it's going to be more and more popular within the next couple of years. I really do. I think this is a huge market sector on YouTube as podcasts, and that is your topic. This is the golden key, if you will. I really do believe that, because there is a big time. I'm 45, and I almost feel like I was born too early in life to enjoy more of what I'm seeing younger people doing. I do love it. I love this movement.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's never, there's always opportunity in this, and I get it. I've been meeting with some younger, like 19, 20-year-old filmmakers that are making amazing YouTube content and doing stuff. And I'm just like, man, come on, there's this amazing world of opportunity for people that don't want to go the traditional path necessarily.
Right, exactly.
And it's only going to get bigger and broader and grow from here. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm 33 now, so we'll see.
And I've said that. I was including you in that age, by the way. You're 33. You still are right in the golden ticket for that,
We shall see, my friend.
The world is your oyster. It really is. But it is, like, I grew up in the 80s, so I grew up in the most decadent, excessive era I think that's ever existed in humanity. That was built around an era of all of our stars, all of our role models lived life so far above their means that everyone went into the 90s so broke and so broken that most of them never got out of it. And that's not the way it is today. Like my son, we were talking, and I said about smoking. But I said, when I was growing up, all my idols smoked. You couldn't be somebody's idol without doing it. I mean, even hockey players, I remember standing on the side of the ice, the famous shot of them, with a Marlboro shoved in their mouth or more. All the new models now are about breaking the rules, finding new ways to live on this earth in a different path. It's so not like two trends to suit the world. There's a million trends and some big ones, but they're all semi-niches into it. And just in yours alone, there's so many different spikes, like you say, all the way down to mini homes, all the way to light changes to like complete over-the-top hoarding redos.
Yeah.
It's an exciting time for, I think, what you're into. And I think you go with your middle of the road approach is so accessible to so many. I think you're the one that's keyed to really do well in this.
Thank you. It's been a journey, and every step of the way, it's like, I was writing and decided to try YouTube, making a YouTube video. Some friends set up a camera and were like, all right, just talk about something. It very much started very casually, and the whole way, I've just kind of focused on wanting to just make stuff and share the journey and share what I learned, so that maybe people can suffer through it a little less than I did, And so that's the hope. And so, I do want to reach more people and grow this thing and have, the influence for what I believe is the positive path in life. But I think that's what we're all going for in some way, shape, or form.
But like you say, help them suffer. I mean, that's a human trait. That's what a lot of people that tend to be vocal about what they're doing is people that went through a transition versus like, if say you have children and they grow up doing it thanks to your teaching, they're less likely to be vocal about it because it was just a part of their life. It's usually the one that goes through the change that most appreciates the benefits of doing it and then becomes more vocal, inspiring.
Totally. I'd like to think so. I think we can all benefit from sharing our learnings. Teach everything you know is a catchphrase that I really like. Teach everything you know.
I love that.
The world's better for it.
That's such a good phrase.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I had to mull it over for a second. I love that. Yeah, that is really cool. Did you coin the phrase? Are you coining it?
Oh no, I stole that from my friend Nathan Barry, who runs a company called ConvertKit, and that's their I think one of their slogans. They've got a couple, but teach everything you know. That's a T-shirt that I had for a while.
Wow, that is awesome.
Is there an other side of the coin, so to say? Because you have started all this as example of your own life, so to say, as part of your transition. Have you had the urge to get back into shopping, to buy things that you don't need? Like, because it's not detached from you, it was part of you, and we all kind of tend to slip back sometimes. And if you have, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, the urge to buy stuff hasn't gone away. I think it's changed though. I think one thing is that as I've aged, I've learned to be a little bit more business minded, and so the things that I buy, I typically look for an ROI, for return on investment. And instead of the ROI just being like enjoyment or fun in the moment, a lot of the stuff that we buy, which you can kind of see in the background here, is like camera equipment to do our work better, or just different things that allow us to charge more for our video work, or just like do different things along those lines. And I've learned to enjoy that kind of purchase. But the underlying thing, I don't I don't have a closet full of Amazon boxes that I'm hiding, or I've always wanted to be very authentic in this, and I don't think that the human condition ever changes or really goes away, but it does get easier. Like I said, you kind of go through that decluttering and you start realizing that there's a life cycle here, and I have to be, and it gets easier to recognize that once you've gone through the like, I call it pain. It's not really painful. Sometimes it can be painful, but the distress of clearing out all that stuff, once you've experienced that, it sticks with you, and it helps influence the influx of new stuff. Yep. And you learn, you grow. But that instinct, that me wanting to check my phone, wanting to check social media, see how many posts a like got on Instagram, it's built in. And so I have to be conscious of it. And it's more of like a daily practice of breaking the twitch, rather than, oh, I broke the twitch, I'm done. I'm like, I'm enlightened, good to go. I wish.
Well, that's what you're shooting for more, is that lifestyle, day to day, versus it always being an event. I think is the most important part of it. Then it doesn't sting so badly.
Yeah.
Once it's incorporated more in your life.
Yes, you set yourself up for success. I mean, I think that's the big thing, is you're creating the environment that will help you be successful in these pursuits, because environment can affect us just as much as what's going on up here or here. And so it's all about kind of slowly creating, evolving, editing, and then stepping into that and letting it help you along your way. But we're all still human, and we're all still going to want a certain car or a certain thing, or but we also have to kind of dig into the why behind this stuff, right? Because like the phrase an apple a day keeps the doctor away,
right?
Like that was a creation of the apple farmer lobby, like that. All these things that we think as colloquialisms or things that are common knowledge have been crafted and devised to manipulate us. Yeah. So we have to step back a little and think, why do I want that luxury car? Why is it so much better? What does it mean? What do I think it means about me that I have it? Mm-hmm. And you can still get it. BMWs are great. They're awesome cars. It's like, no doubt, they're a wonderful driving experience. But I want to make sure that we're pursuing those things for the right reasons, whatever that may be.
Yes. Actually, when we got that house, we had a truck and car, and I sold them. There was a truck that was it was a 2011 Ford Ranger. Every dealer wanted it. It was hard to get, but it was no good for us. We had kids. And we're doing okay, and I mean, plus what we got. We could have went out and just said, give me a new car. What do you got? Let's get the latest. It's just not in me. And we shopped actually for 3 months before we found it. We bought a Nissan Murano. It was a lady drove it. It was a huge deal onto it. We waited for the right. Even though we could have went and did it, it's just not in me to go and do it. Because that's a lot of disposable income, and I have bought a new vehicle. I ended up buying it in 2005, and I got rid of it this spring when I got the truck. I drove it for 13 years, kept it always maintenance. I never needed anything else. It had 346,000 kilometers on it, and it ran like a dream. And some would say we traveled a lot more with our kids, and they said, well, I wish I had the money to travel. And I said, well, we haven't changed our vehicle in years. You can't be everything. A lot of people have their kids in hockey here, for instance. That's a couple of $1,000s a year. If you do that, you got to pick and choose what you can do. And most people want it all. They want to be able to travel. They want the new vehicle. They want their kids in high. They want everything that you can think of. But I mean, you can't. You got to have a serious talk with yourself. And what is my real priorities? What makes me feel the best from doing it? And by
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it reminds me of the expression, you can have anything you want. You just can't have everything you want.
Yes, exactly.
Very true.
Because I think that's part of falls under the hoarding as well. It's not just products, but also with money as well and everything. It's not just the thing of having it in your house, but the costs that come with it, and the cluttering of your credit, the cluttering of your, the tap on your resources. I feel all are the same. I want to ask you about that to see if you thought that as well.
About specifically just like...
Yeah, like if you feel like the clutter, like when going that route a lot of times, like cluttering, like taking on too much credit, tapping too much into your resources is the same kind of clutter as living in a house full of clutter. It causes the same repercussions mentally and everything.
Oh, for sure. I mean, one often enables the other. So I think they're linked in a way.
Yes.
It's the overextension of our resources to provide a level of living, or what is it called, like a standard of living that is beyond what we should be able to do. Because there's, again, all these like media and advertising, all these other things that said like, oh, we are owed this, right? You should be able to live like this with this thing and buy this thing, and then you'll feel this way and blah 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 blah. So it's the same thing. And I mean, we start talking about, if you go back, I always like this example because I don't know what the exact number is anymore, but if you go back to the price of the very first iPhone, the iPhone 3G or whatever, I don't remember what the model was, but it was back in 2009 or something like that. If you were to go back and take the $600 that brand new iPhone cost and instead buy Apple stock with that money, you'd have, I think, like 15 grand or 20 grand, something ridiculous in 10 years. And that goes back to the question of, in order to grow capital, it takes money to make money, right? And we can choose, like, do I want the new hot, really cool thing, or is there something behind there that might be worth investing in? I don't know. Again, I'm not a certified financial planner. You're going to learn a lot that I'm not through this conversation. But there's a lot of different ways to look at this, these things.
That is such a... It is. It's such a... I can't get over the stock thing. I never thought of that one. I never thought of that one that way. That's such a good point about buying Apple stock versus buying the phone that time. What kind of a payoff you would have.
Yeah. I imagine how many people are actually thinking about it now in the chat. It's like, oh.
Damn it, I missed that opportunity.
We had a question from Living the Dream, really interesting. Have you ever decluttered anything that you regret and you wishes you had back?
Yeah, probably. This is the joke. Like, probably one thing, and we got rid of our blender, and because we weren't making smoothies, we had a juicer. So we just got rid of the blender. It was like a cheaper one, so it wasn't a really nice Vitamix or anything. And it didn't work super well, but there were a bunch of times over the course of the years where like, we probably should still have that blender. So that probably, and it's a pretty minor example, but even this week, we've gotten rid of our whole bedroom set, like our dresser, our nightstands, and now we just have a bed in our room and our closets, which are pretty small in our 50s home. But all of our stuff has been rearranged and now fits in those closets. And we're like, this room has so much more space now. And it feels so much more open. Yet we've had this stuff in here just because we had it.
Yep.
And so nothing really have I gotten rid of. I've forgotten about most of the things and just like, I don't even remember what it's like to have this stuff. It's changed substantially. And so I haven't really had a lot of those moments where it's like major regret. It's always just feels like, okay, well, we don't have this thing anymore. It's all right. We'll deal with it.
Have you ever replaced it afterwards? Like the blender, for example?
Still don't have a blender.
Did not have a blender. Okay.
I think I think it's that one comes down to maybe just being like stubborn a little bit about
and
it.
I love it. I love that. Stubborn is such a great tool. People underrate it all the time. I love it.
Yeah,
I love that.
We'll probably have one eventually, but we'll get a nice one, that'll last a long time when we do. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for that as well. Exactly. Somebody's investing a little bit more into it when the time comes that you'll look long term. I mean, that's something that's a very good point too.
Yeah.
We, I don't know. I find it so inspiring. I'm hearing so many things tonight. I'm almost feeling a little validated. I got to say, there's a little bit of me that wants to talk after this is done and say, I was kind of telling you. So, because men don't wear as many arguments, so we got to cling to these ones.
I think I had, for example, we go shopping very, very little, like for clothes and stuff. Like, don't go to the mall wandering around, seeing what's new. None of that is going on. And really none of really too much online shopping either. But what I do, though, to carve my female, I want to go window shopping or maybe buy something stuff is, and I find it really works. I don't know how, but it works. I actually, instead of just favoriting things in the online store that I like, I actually add them to my shopping bag, but I never purchase it. And it works so perfectly. I never realized till I actually started doing it, so I kind of play this imagine play that I'm shopping for these things and I choose, oh, this is nice and this is nice, and I add it all to the shopping bag and then I close it and forget it, and kind of the want already disappeared, and I never really buy those things. Works perfectly.
That's great. It's kind of the modern equivalent of window shopping, just kind of walking through the mall just to have an experience. Now, I've always said it's really hard to want something you don't know exists. So if you're really struggling with it, you kind of have to try to avoid that stuff, I think. But if you're able to just like drop stuff into the cart, I've heard other people do this too, drop stuff into the cart, you kind of get the experience of collecting that sort of thing, and then it fades. It's nice to have a bit of a wait period too when you're buying stuff. Just like a cool down period, if you will, to allow yourself a little bit to go, no, that was just a thing. That was just
Yeah, this is how it started, because first I was putting it away. Well, okay, let's see if I tomorrow still want it, kind of thing. But yeah, it kind of fades away. I think the whole process of actually doing that action instead of just looking through it makes it more validating. Your brain kind of already did the purchase, although you didn't. So instead of just looking through the pages, it didn't actually do the trick. I think that the actual habit of doing that what helps.
I think it's important to note as well that making it seem like buying stuff is evil is no fun. No. And it's no way to live either. No. And I want to make sure to just very clearly state that I still buy, like, every now and then I still buy ridiculous things that are fun and hilarious and will bring some joy and some element to someone's life. Like, I don't think that the right solution necessarily is to like just be super cheap and like never buy anything and beat ourselves up if we slip up, right? It goes back to the working out thing. Like, we're still human, we're still living life, and we're still functioning in this cultural society that brings joy in different ways, right? So I'm definitely not like what is it, the when alcohol was banned, abolitionist? I think that's the word. There's I still use Amazon for various things when I need it. It's super convenient. Is that the right ethical answer? I don't know, but I know that it's a lot better now, and I don't use it in the way that I used to. So that's the biggest thing.
Well, yeah, and when you have a control over something more, it's like drinking, like it's versus drinking every day or drinking then going out once in a while for a drink. You enjoy it, and there's no hard feelings. You had a good night, and same I would say like then with a purchase when you do something like that. It's more an event. I was telling it to Xenia because she grew up in Latvia here. I remember like 20 years ago, if you've seen FedEx or Pure Later, wow, somebody's getting something pretty important, or it was going to a business. Then all of a sudden they showed up in front of doors multiple times a day.
Yeah.
That whole online shopping even killed that phenomenon of something being delivered by a courier. I mean, that was something pretty precious cargo that was coming. You know, I don't oversell it just because it was too expensive to do. And that's how online shopping took it to the point where there was no more euphoria left in buying anything almost. Because that's a big thing when somebody parks and actually brings a package right up to the door and signs it. But I think we've just gotten so used to it in our culture that we've lost the feel of buying something and having a great moment with it, because we're having so many great moments in theory. That
experience is being dulled. Just dulled like a, the experience is being anything. It's like the hedonic treadmill. Anything that we experience on a regular basis or a lifestyle increase, we will adjust to that thing. And it just becomes normal. I mean, the UPS driver, when I see him go by, he doesn't even move his truck anymore. He just gets out with like 10 boxes and just goes house to house to house and drops them all off.
Exactly.
It's very different now. Yeah.
And it's kind of a sign of what's changed in all of it. That's why I say I always find it more symbolic than anything. It's kind of the reminder of how far it's gone. I remember my life-changing experience was actually in Latvia my first year there. First Christmas there, because I was over before. I finally got to see Christmas. And Xenia's mom had a very good job. She was a head nurse for a clinic. Her mom's boyfriend worked for Honda, so they had good jobs. It's not a struggling country. And for Christmas, for our middle son, he got like a toy bear that played. He got a little figure-8 racetrack that run on batteries, some candy, and 3 pairs of clothes. And I'm so used to the North American, let's go broke ass wild, for the next 7 months, just so we can show pictures of what we got. And I was thinking, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's not because they're poor and can't afford it. It's because it's not the point of this holiday. And I'm not all spiritual. I'm not. It was just the point of it should be more, it was more grassroots. And I loved it. I found myself enjoying every second of it. Because nobody was like freaking out in January when all the bills came in and stuff like that.
How crazy is it? I just saw some statistics saying that, I think it's specific to Americans, but something like 30% of Americans go into debt, substantial debt, for just for the holiday.
Yep, I believe.
And it's like, what are we doing? We're doing this to ourselves. And I understand that there's this for kids. There's this cultural expectation, and they go to school and they talk to all their friends, like, "What did you get?" And you don't want it to be a thing where your kid feels like they didn't get as much, and so, but we have to stop it somewhere, right? We have to say, wait a minute, whose interest is this serving? Really, right? Like, who is benefiting from all these holidays that are being made up and all these things? Like, the average something spent on Valentine's Day was like $125 or something this year, and it's just interesting, right? There are a lot of ways to express love. Giving gifts is one of them, and it's a valid one. But I think we need to kind of look at all of this.
My God, I couldn't agree with you more on that one, and that's something that bothers me so much. It really does. That's one thing I'm working with our kids hard. We're working hard with our kids. We barely ever do anything like that on Valentine's Day. It's an absolute rip-off. There's lots better ways to spend our time. We buy steak. She likes when I cook it. We have it at home. It's just such a pointless endeavor. Like, it doesn't change the love any. And
I don't need chocolate, heart-shaped chocolates. And I like Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I'm not one of the people that say, well, why it's only one day. No, it's another day to celebrate. It's not only one day, but you don't need all the commercial stuff that goes with it to do it.
Right. And the inflated prices that are always, always, yeah.
Every restaurant's 3 times the price for the same meal you would have gotten the day before or the day after. They cut out most of the items on the restaurant and package it. And I get that if you're new and just going out and you want to do something special. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody for it.
No, yeah. You do you.
Yeah, exactly. Just for us, it just never really seemed to make a lot of sense. Another thing we do is, instead of McDonald's, we always went to IKEA. I feel so bad our kids get excited when they tell other kids. But the airport is a kilometer away, so instead of sitting in some dingy restaurant on Sundays, we used to make it a point to go get hot dogs and then go to the airport and watch the planes land. So then instead of sitting on some ketchup-stained chair, at least spend an hour or two with them at the same time for a fraction, of the price. they're just as happy with it.
We even celebrated one of our anniversaries.
She had a doctor's appointment before I get annihilated in the chat.
I enjoy it, and that's the whole point of it. It doesn't have to be up to whose standards we're living, and I think that's what it all comes down to. I think because of all the social media, Insta pictures where everything looks so perfect, ideal. Everybody has these amazing houses and traveling and things and everything, and Facebook posts and everything. Almost people are like they like owe to society to go to the fancy restaurant or have a heart-shaped chocolate bar or something like that. But we live for ourselves, and I think that's where we get mixed sometimes. It's nobody else is going to be experiencing except for you, So we went to IKEA and had Swedish meatballs for lunch for our anniversary, and it was fun. Like, what's the difference? We got to spend time together, No, like it wasn't anything fancy. It didn't have to be.
Hey, you're spending intentional time together.
Yes.
You're going and doing a thing, and it's outside of the norm. And there's no shame. There's no shame in that. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've done something similar as well. So,
well, do you look at part of social media as encouraging this whole buying and hoarding thing because they're seeing people on Facebook? Oh, this one got that. Why don't we have that? And influencing their purchase, the trends.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. And because people are just, the majority of people are just faking it on social media.
Right.
Like it's fake.
Yep.
People are dressing up, going out and taking photos and doing a thing. Like this is the change that's happened. Instead of capturing a moment that you're doing because you want to do it, you're going out and doing something because you want to capture a moment of it.
That's crazy.
How, right? It seems very, very counterintuitive. Mm-hmm. But so a couple things are going on that I've noticed at least. One is that people view Instagram as a potential to, and a social media following as a potential to make money, to be an influencer, right?
Right.
And so they see that as like, this is a hustle. Mm-hmm. So how do you do the hustle? You plan it, you strategize, you go hire your friends who are photographers to go, you get an Airbnb, and then you take as many pictures as you can in that Airbnb as possible, and then have that to share over the course of 3 months, right?
Right.
It's not like, hey, look at my photos anymore. It's not, hey, this is what I was doing. I want to share with friends and family. The way that social media sort of started, it's changed substantially. And so there's that. And then there's the other aspect of the free market of social media. And what I think has happened, where if you look at like the hip hop scene, now again, I'm not a certified hip hop specialist here, but I have a casual observing of the stuff that's trending on Instagram on the trending page. And like if you don't have face tattoos at this point, you're not going to stand out. Mm-hmm. The extreme is the only thing that stands out in a free market, the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. And it's that competition which drives clickbait, which drives more extremism, which drives the kinds of things like if you're not posing with a Lamborghini in your picture that you have to figure out somebody to get, it's just going to blend in with all the other stuff.
Right.
And so this weird free market competition in terms of capturing people's attention has become part of the game. And it's definitely driving jealousy, fear of missing out, like thinking that people are actually living this way. This is performance art. Like, it's performance art at this point.
That's a very good way of putting it.
It is, and I think that regular consumers, so to say, people who are not involved into hands-on into social media, they do think it's real life. They don't realize that half of it is stock photos to begin with. Another one is staged and made up, and it's not everyday capture, like you said. I think it drives a lot of people in depression too. They can't afford those things that they see in pictures, although they are not real.
Yeah, it does shift from the mentality of like, oh, those people are rich and live that way because they're celebrities. So of course they do. They're rich and famous.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, when anyone could fake it, I'm thinking, I'm kind of planning a video right now where I take a budget, like a really small budget, and make myself look as rich as possible in a YouTube video and on Instagram for like a month, and then document the whole thing.
Oh, I love that.
And say, this is how much I spent. This is like how we did it, documenting all this stuff, and then showing the result of the images, the pictures, and different things. Because I think it would be shocking to most to see how easy it is to just manipulate some things, stand in front of a house. You rent an Airbnb for an hour. Don't touch any of the beds so they don't charge you any of the cleaning fees. You know, like you can really do a lot that creates a perception that's not real. Yeah.
I think that's awesome. That's such a great idea. I would love to see
it. Is a great idea because people don't realize how much of it's not real. That's so true. And now it's almost like if you are in a business that is part of social media, you almost like it's a demand of you having these pictures, these staged pictures, you know, stock-like looking photos. Yeah.
I always like to imagine whenever I see an amazing picture of someone that looks effortless and carefree, and they're like, you know, they have like this exact. I always like to imagine them standing there, taking 85
yes, exactly.
to get the exact right one. And then if you experience that, I don't know if you've ever seen this where you're out in public and you see someone just standing there, just taking picture over and over and over, and you're like, oh my gosh, okay. You realize how silly it looks. And but when you're in it, it's, you know, you don't realize it because you're trying to capture this thing. So I like to think of that whenever I see an amazing picture. I'm like, okay, how many pictures do they have to really take to try to get this one?
Well, it is, and they spend an hour in their car later on going through them, and then they spend another hour, half an hour applying all filters and everything to give it that, you know, Instagram polished look. They were supposed to be there visiting something. Basically, it was all centered around the selfie that was going to go up on their social media. Way more than what they were doing in the moment. You know, it pretty much was an afterthought.
So time consuming.
You know, instead of enjoying it where you used to. And you're right. Like, if I see another picture of, like, something like that, I'm going to puke. Like, I'm so sick of watching it. I'm so sick and angry of watching people doing stuff. Like, just take a damn photo. Be glad that you're there in the moment. Just see somebody enjoying the moment naturally is worth $1 million at this point because it's so rare.
Even vlogging, I find, has become into that too. Like you mentioned before, it's doing things for the sake of capturing it, not the other way around. Like you know, it used to be capturing our daily life. Well, now we do things to be able to vlog it. You know, well. You know, is your life really so exciting every day? I mean, I would be tired probably. 365. You know, I think it creates this artificial culture, but at the same time, our kids, for example, for them, it's a normalcy. They don't see how it was different. So for them, that's just how it is, right? So the question sometimes in my head is, well, where is it going? Because you can't just say to them, well, don't do that, because then they're going to be outcasts with other kids, you know. And where is it going from 10 years from now? Maybe it is a new life.
Sarah's abstract expression says, Andrew speaks the minds of many of us that have been talking to the channel. Oh, I see where this is going. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that question too. And if you look at the trends, now I'm not a statistician or any kind of data professional, but if you look at the trends, you can see that certain mental health conditions like anxiety and depression are heavily trending around the direct growth of social media like Instagram and Facebook, and the kinds of things that are manipulating our psyche to leverage our addictive centers to get us to use it more and more, to give us some dopamine hits just to keep us floating along long enough to keep us coming back. And you see that, and now obviously correlation does not equal causation, but it's hard to deny the trend of young people getting increasing issues with anxiety and depression and these social kind of mental health issues, and also seeing the growth of these social media networks, because not necessarily a lot else is changing at the same time along those things. And the curve looks surprisingly similar. So I'm worried. I think that there will be a breaking point. I think we still have the same brain largely that humans had 10,000, 20,000 years ago. Our brains have not evolved that much since then. And we are pushing it in ways that it was not designed to be pushed.
Right.
You know, the biggest, most craziest thing that would, you know, alert us is like, there's a tiger over there, or there's some woolly mammoth or something that's going to come, you know, spear us or something. And that was the fight or flight response. And the stimulus to that was just rare. We were designed to allow our attention to capture those things. And now it's like constant ding, 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 like a slot machine. And it's just absolutely beating that intuition to a pulp. And so there's got to be a breaking point where we're going to go, wait a minute. You know, there's this thing, like, I saw this article about nature therapy. It's like, that's a hike. That's a hike. You're going on a hike. It's not nature therapy, like you're hiking. and we need to realize that we need to recapture this, that we are animals. This is not, we're not anything beyond animals, and we need to treat ourselves as such.
We've almost become snobby to our own human being. It's like we're always above everything now. We got to stop putting ourselves in such a pedestal and realize that we're still way more connected to our prior beings than we want to care to admit, you know. And it is kind of a snobbish look at it, you know, because there is primal instincts in us that are yearning for all these things.
An amazing book that I'm listening to on Audible right now is Sapiens. It's a brief history of humankind is the subtitle. And it is fascinating. It digs into a lot of the stuff we're talking about right now, about how humans evolved and how a lot of the things in current society came to be, like money and culture and hierarchy and different things like that. Fascinating book, and it's right on this topic that we're getting to right now.
That is awesome. And are we using our buying as a way of supplementing what we're missing in our primal? I'm assuming that's leading towards that as well. Like,
I believe so.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that we're using all these things just to keep us floating along. And it's like, I compare it to sugar. You know, sugar will keep you alive. It will sustain you, its calories, and it will make you feel full if you eat enough of it, donuts or whatever. But your systems are not designed to be eating 500 grams or I don't know, 500 pounds of sugar a year, or something crazy like whatever the American diet is now on average. It keeps you floating along, and that's what the Twitch does. The buying, the social media, the little things that have been designed to just keep that dopamine hit going, just like a drug. It's like sugar to me, where it's not giving you the thing that you really need that will help solve the long-term issue. It's just covering it up and making you feel full, but you're also sort of heading towards maybe diabetes or something else, right?
It's a crutch.
It's a crutch, yeah.
You know, and we got a lot of crutches in society today. A lot of options to be crutches, you know.
Yeah, crutches are profitable.
Yep, exactly. That's true. And I mean, all what you've been talking about tonight, I still feel like hoarding and all that stuff is a crutch. I feel that indulging in purchasing is a crutch. The same as with alcohol, with drugs, with sugar, anything is. Things are great when they're done in moderation, but when they start sustaining your happiness or gauging your happiness based on those events, that's when you know you got a problem on your hands.
Yeah, it's really.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's really easy also to beat ourselves up about this stuff, and I think it's really important to realize that we are human. This is a system designed to take advantage of us, and that we are working to do our best to operate in opposition with these systematic things. And so we have to be kind to ourselves. There's no sense beating ourselves up, being like, I bought this thing, or I ate the sugar, or I've been on social media too much. Like, that just creates that kind of spiral, the guilt spiral, right? So start with being kind and understanding that this is something we need to work on, and it's not necessarily, it's not our fault if we're struggling with it.
It's like taking back control of it and not feeling like you're so controlled by it, but having some control over it. You know, I think it's the first step for a lot of people to feel that you know, they can then manage it better.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting, it's such a dive into the psyche, you know, and that's when it's a great, when they have a great thing going, is when you don't even realize how far they've dug right into your mental state to make you purchase or do things.
So many levels. It's like Inception, that movie Inception,
yes,
where you're like, oh, I want this thing. Wait a minute, but why do I want this thing? Wait a minute, but why do I want that thing? And like, you know, and then everything ends up. My friend and I were joking that if you ask why enough times about why you want something, it probably gets back to mating at some point. Like,
I never thought of that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like some aspect of continuing the human species if you go for far enough. Yeah.
Well, once again, a connection to that whole primal thing we were just saying a few minutes ago. You know, it really does. Xenia always says when I come home with groceries, she says you come home with the woolly mammoth. She always used to say that when I come home with groceries all the time. You know, and I think that was a kind of a play on that whole idea of back in, you know, those primal things still going on to this day, if you really evaluate them.
Living the Dream is asking, what are your opinions, what we could do for the youth, so to say, to get them back on the track?
Yeah, the biggest thing, I think, is put hard limits on screen time. Like, allow space for boredom. Because boredom in this day and age, we don't have, largely, we don't have the same kind of need that drove innovation and creativity that we used to. But boredom is now the creator. So limiting screen time, my sister does, I think, an hour a day for her kids of screen time, and they're, you know, in their preteens, early teenagers. But that's the biggest thing, because you can just be on it all day. And like I said, it'll just kind of keep you pinging along, and then you'll wonder why everyone else is doing cooler stuff than you, and why, you know, your photo isn't getting as many likes as this person's. And being a teenager, I think, is hard enough as it is, dealing with the new social norms and just different things that are going on with you. And we just don't need that constant influence of screens. So the biggest thing I would say, like, put hard limits on screen time. If you take a phone away from a kid, I've seen this, like, if you take a phone away from a kid, it's like meltdown. It's like addiction level meltdown. And if that isn't a clear sign that there needs to be moderation with this sort of thing, I don't know what is. Yeah,
it's very true. It is. Our kids know one thing: if it's taken away and they show it down, that's exactly what happens. Then it's grounding. There's an issue going on. We're dealing with it right now, head on. And I think a lot of parents, they don't want to say no to their kids. And I have no problem. I don't want to sound cruel, but I have no issue saying no to my children. It does not bother me. I'm not there to be their best friend. I'm there to be their parent. Not that I want to be mean to them, but it's up to me to say that. And if I don't say it, nobody else is going to say it to them. Meaning us.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
You know,
yeah.
It's not a popularity contest.
No. Once you're in their 30s, then you know you can come back around and just like, well, I did my best.
That's it, you know. Like
you're pretty much who you're going to be at this point.
My oldest son, I mean, I was married before, and I have my oldest son. He's 21, and I told him later on his teen years, I said, "Too bad you don't get to play that game where you know get one parent against the other buying more. You're stuck with me, and you got my love, so." You're out of luck on this game. It's as simple as that. I'm not buying it because you got it already, so you don't have to worry. It's there.
There you go.
And I think there was a bit of like, because he was hoping maybe to milk it a bit more, normal, 15, 16. But I wouldn't. I told myself I'm not doing him any favors if I do that. He's got to grow up and learn how to live when this is all said and done. And it's just a temporary fix for something that's not A, needed, and B, is not going to help him down the road. So, you know.
I wanted to ask you to switch the theme. What are the apps that you're using on your phone, maybe, that help you organize your life, time, or habits?
Yeah, I don't use a ton of stuff. Like I use Todoist, which is just a really simple to-do list app. I do everything, and then I use Google Calendar. So that if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. So I put everything in my calendar. That's been one of the biggest lifestyle changes that has helped me just over the last decade be a better person, I think, in terms of being more consistent and reliable. Just having that tool has been really helpful. So those are the big ones. I'm trying to think. I mean, I use other things just in terms of like creating. I don't even have my phone here. It's like, I think it's in the other room. So, but those are the two big ones that I use to just kind of organize my life. I use Google Drive for online storage of stuff. I use different apps to run the business side of things. So Dropbox and Vimeo for videos and different things like that. But in terms of the day-to-day, it really pretty much just is Todoist and Google Calendar is telling me what I do, what I need to do every day.
And nothing that limits your social media presence or consumption?
So iPhone has these screen time features built into it now. So I don't have to, I used to use an app, what was it called? Called Forest, which is still a great app. It's really wonderful and very cute. But now Apple just has it kind of built in, and I just have it tracking. So whenever I turn on my phone screen, it shows me how many minutes I've spent on the phone that day. So I'm seeing roughly, and I know now about where I need to just cut it off for the most part. But there was a time when I hard limited screen time to an hour a day, and then I limited certain apps to 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, depending on what the app was. Sometimes you just kind of fall into a hole and you just feel like doing that, and you'll just spend more time on your phone that day. But in general, it helps with just keeping a more consistent amount. Yeah. Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, I used to use the Forest app as well, different other apps to limit first. But now I actually disabled notifications for social media, and I only... well, if we wouldn't have YouTube channel, I probably wouldn't be as much on social media to begin with, because I'm not really, our personal social media is not really so present at all. It's mostly just our YouTube channel. And yeah, I disabled notifications on the phone because it's constant ding ding. It's completely unnecessary. I can check once in a while, in the morning. I check in the afternoon. But otherwise, it takes so much time. Yeah, but definitely
notifications.
Notifications. That's definitely helped me for sure.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it is, because it is sucking you in. It's such a bait and hook thing all the time, And once you're hooked onto it, it's very hard to walk away from it. So yeah, disabling it at least gives you a chance to kind of break free.
Yeah.
It's like kind of taking back control and the choosing of when you're going to give it attention. Instead of it telling you when it wants attention, you're like intentionally choosing to go check something.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then, obviously, it is still, instead of checking it all the time, you set, okay, I check in the morning, I check in the afternoon. Otherwise, it turns into the whole day checking too, so you kind of have to control yourself as you're doing it as well. But I think it helps lower the anxiety because, it's just... it doesn't help be productive too, and often it also takes away the time of doing other things. Sometimes multitasking is not the best approach because you can't multitask efficiently. Sometimes it's one thing at a time is better. So yeah, especially without social media. So that's what definitely I do. And yes, Google Calendar I started too, but I'm not as good as this guy here with Google Calendar. Things like that. I do still write in a calendar with hand though. I don't know. I'm not into digital yet, I guess. I should. Old school more, but I do write it down. Yeah, it helps.
Increasingly, I'm finding that the actual tool itself doesn't matter as long as you use it. That's why I don't even really talk about specific tools very much anymore, because everyone has a different system, and I can recommend an app, but like if it doesn't work for you and you don't use it, it's not going to do anything. It's not some magic bullet that's going to solve the problem. It's just a system. And so as long as you can find a system, trust it to do what it needs to do and use it, you're good. Whether that's writing on the calendar or Google Calendar, whatever, it's all good.
Thank you. So what is there to come in the near future except for moving? Is there anything else? Or it's taken away?
So the big thing right now is we're just kind of going through the process of prepping our house for showings and all that other stuff. That's coming up in about 2.5 weeks. And so we're working on that. But right now we just finished season 2 of our podcast, which was about 12 episodes, 13 episodes. And now that that's done, that just takes a bunch of production time and effort every week. So now that that's done, we're turning our attention back to the community and to our main YouTube channel and producing, the normal 3 to 5 minute videos and taking the learnings from the podcast and starting to share that stuff in the main channel. We do really need to take a step back at this point and look at everything because we're still doing quite a bit of client production work in addition to Break the Twitch to make all of this work together because both my wife and I do this full time. And so we're going to take a step back over the next couple weeks and look at everything and see where we want to go with everything. But we're going to keep going, and we still have the goal. We'd love to get to 100,000 this year, but I don't, like I said,
I don't see any issues with that. I don't see any issues with that. So
it's just one of those small things. I don't tend to get wrapped up in numbers too much, but it's one of those things on YouTube that they give you the plaque and stuff. It feels substantial. Maybe it would feel like something.
Will you keep the play button?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a spot.
That's a good question.
There's a spot where it won't be in this house because we're leaving this house, but there was a spot ready for it right there above the computer, ready to go. So
awesome.
So awesome. I want to thank you so much for your time tonight, and you are one amazing person. And I love your theory, and I love that it's spreading. I think it's a real gift. It really is something great for people. It's great for man. I don't want to over dramatize it, but it is great for human race to have these messages coming out because they're needed more than ever. So I think you are reaching some people in a pretty great way.
I hope so, and I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, and likewise, you sharing these conversations and putting this stuff out here in the spirit of just sharing these, diverse opinions and people's passions is a wonderful way to do that too. And so I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time and having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
I just wanted to personally thank you to keeping our marriage in sanity sometimes.
Yeah, I owe you a big thanks for that.
As I said, your videos have helped me during my decluttering process during the time long before we started our YouTube channel. So I'm really, really personally thankful for that.
I appreciate that. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm thrilled that that it's been helpful. But yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch, and we'll have to talk more about what's going on.
Thank you so much.
You have an awesome night, and thank you so much for joining us once again. And,
thank you for having me. Thanks everyone for listening and watching too.
And good luck with the move and everything, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you. Hopefully it goes smoothly.
I'm sure it will.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Oh my God, he was awesome.
Yeah, so many on the same page, the thoughts on the same page, a philosophy of living. Guys, if you haven't checked him out, check out all the social medias is down below in the description. Book, link to the book, link to the podcast. Podcast is available also on Spotify, Stitch, iTunes, and everywhere else. Second season, as Anthony just was saying, just finished. I actually just listened to the last episode just today. It was really awesome. So if you can't watch it for now, listen to it. Our book is also available as audiobook for free if you sign up for a trial of Amazon audiobooks. So that's something you can listen to as well. I loved it. I was so looking forward to this conversation. I think we needed a push for our spring that haven't really started yet.
There he goes, guys. Oh my God, he doesn't even have a wrench. We got to fix that right away. Let's get him a wrench. Oh, there you go. He's sticking out right now till I add the wrench. Break the Twitch is in the chat, so definitely check him out, guys. What a fantastic channel. What a great conversation. This is the kind of conversation we crave to do on here. I mean, engaging and He's so good and so passionate and so deep into it, but not intimidating.
No.
And that's what is so important. That's why I really like people who are doing that approach. I think you win more people in the end, and it's such an important message, like it is for all of us.
Definitely. And go and check out his website. There's lots of information there as well. You can also sign up for their community with lots of tips, audio files for your listening pleasure as well there, and you can be part of community if that's something that you want to be part of. I really, as I said personally, his videos on YouTube have helped me tremendously throughout the time to have that push and to organize my mind, and yeah, definitely.
It's nice. YouTube is such a great tool. And it's really nice when you get inspired by something, when you can entertain and do some good all together. These are the channels, as you can see, like him. He's let's go back for a sec. Let me go back to that because this is really important. Why has he got 65,000? Because he's got an awesome product that a lot of people can use. He's very engaging when he does it. And I mean, that counts for something in this world. And that's what a lot of us went to YouTube for. There's to be entertained, and there's also to be informed. That's why it's the number 2 search engine in the world is YouTube. And this is the kind of channel that just comes up a lot because it covers all those bases so nicely. So, it's not just the message to be inspired by, but all of us as YouTubers too, looking at what he does is very inspiring. And what we need to have a good chance of getting noticed, getting seen on here, and growing is really have a viable, interesting product, represent it well, and engaging and entertaining all at the same time.
That's right. And if you miss any of the links that I posted, they're all available in our description down below. The book, a podcast, and all the social links right there. You can check that out. And I hope it inspires you guys as well. No matter if it's spring or autumn, fall, wherever you are, I think it's a state of mind that is so amazing after these conversations, and looking forward to keeping in touch with Antony, or maybe next time we can have him together with his wife on.
That would be awesome.
Since they both are working on the channel and especially on the podcast as well.
Most definitely.
So I hope so.
I was thinking that a while ago too. When we were in the end,
I thank you so much for everybody who's just joining us now. We just let our amazing guest Antony from Break the Twitch go. So you guys will have to rewind it to watch the conversation about decluttering your mind and your house. And tomorrow we're going to be back with Tuesday Tech Talk, a very special one.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about it a bit?
No, go ahead. I'm just moving this over.
We are going to have a very special Tuesday Tech Talk. Of course, we're going to be answering all your questions about YouTube and photo and video, and of course about the newest updates on mobile streaming if you still have any questions after that. And we also going to be doing something very special. We're going to be doing a case study of a channel. And yes, this is going to be an in-depth case study of the channel. And why it will be interesting? Because it's not only the channel, but it's also a person that is going to be very exciting. So it's going to be kind of combination of our interview nights, our review, the channel nights, and the shout out nights all together. And guess what? We'll probably spin the wheel.
This is true.
Yes, I think the wheel can't be getting into rust too much. It has been dormant for a while now.
Yes,
so
it has. And that since we've been, that's right, folks, vindicated. That's right. Vindicated by YouTube for the wheel once again. Wrong. Oh, my God. I knew I shouldn't have shared these windows together. There we go. That's right. The video is back up. Oh, it jumped right to the next one. This is not working good at all. No. There you go. I forgot that this was running the whole time. So there you go, guys. The wheel has been vindicated. The video is back up, and we are all in the good. Once again, this is not our first rodeo with that, but it's all good, so...
that's right. So that's tomorrow. That's going to be exciting. 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't be late. There's lots of stuff going on tomorrow. So that's going to be real cool. Really looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. And don't worry, Crap. My dad makes me watch. We like that, too, with the no wheel reviews. That's not going anywhere. So it's been a, it's a mix of both. So have no fear. It was just good that There's always a couple that say, oh, well, it was taken down because it was this and that. And once again, YouTube looked at it and said, nothing wrong. So that's why we all deserve our moment in the sun.
That's right. But tomorrow is a special one channel in-depth review that you're never have seen here before. That's something that we're going to try out tomorrow. And very exciting guest too. So like I said, a mix of everything that we have on this channel on one night. That's tomorrow.
Yep. And Margie, you're so sweet. Wishing Andrew a speedy recovery with your cold, and blessings for you both of you and your family.
Thank you so much. Pilot Ryan.
You're such a sweetie.
Thank you.
Oh, Violet Ryan, thank you so very much. Always a pleasure to see you. Last night, guys, if you missed it, we got a channel to 100,000. It was amazing. Everybody did so fantastic into it. People got the point, once again showing what the kind of people hang around in here. That's what was so awesome. Just living. How you doing? How you doing? Jason, am I the guest? You're awesome. You'll have to see tomorrow night. You'll have to see tomorrow night.
How was the pie? What Pigeon Outdoors asked about apple pie that I made.
Oh, it was very good. It was very healing, very soothing. Too soothing, because I had a couple of, yeah. It was,
yeah, there have been muffins since then as well. We are all enjoying them. Oh my God.
And last night, guys, if you missed it, we took a channel that was 130 away from 100K. We watched them. We've never spoken to them before, the guy before in our lives, but we've watched him for a couple of years. I happened to see his live stream on. I was sitting here in my pajamas, seeing this on, went and got Xenia, and we decided to try it. And in 32 minutes, we got him. We needed 130 subscribers to get to 100,000. He ended off with 100,028. And it was just amazing. He was so excited, so kind. We've been in touch with him since. And he is going to be there. He is there. And he is going to be our guest very soon. He's said he would love to be on. So he's traveled around the world. That's why we followed him. It was so amazing. Yeah, there's all the Pusa people that went into the chat. And there was just more and more. Well, like I say, over 100. So I got to thank B&O Outdoors as well, guys. B&O went live for a minute to tell everybody to come on over and help us out in that as well. Once again, a team effort, and it showed that people didn't say, oh, well, what? He's at 100, he don't need help. It was to show everybody once again that everybody gets those lulls, and you know what? Everybody got it. Everybody was happy for them. They were happy. They came over and checked out us as well. It was just a great night, you know, and that's what it's about. So it's been a lot of, you always have your ups and your downs on YouTube, and the last 2 days have been some amazing ups. It really has been.
Yes, definitely, guys. And that's just to show you that, you know, it happens with everybody, but there's always ups as well. Yeah. We hope we got to inspire you, even if just a little bit today. Yes. And hope even more tomorrow.
You guys are awesome. I also seen, just want to say hi to Paula, came in as well, just living. It is so great to see you. And Lloyd has offered me Vegemite will cure your cold. I'd rather be sick, but thank you, Lloyd. Lloyd was always bugging me with the Vegemite and Spam together. You know. Oh, thank you. Yes, guys, he's absolutely fantastic tonight. Absolutely a fantastic guest. Definitely check him out. Let me get his site back up here. Break the Twitch. Are you still in the chat as well? Let's see here.
I'll put the link in the chat.
Because I got the wheel on tonight when I was showing everybody. Now I'm one click away from everything. There, I've just messed up my own order. That's why I keep going back to that Zoom interview one. There he is there, guys. Unbelievable channel. And then you can also check out his website and his podcast. Everything, and such an amazing guy. So great to talk to. Yeah, we're just about to head out, Philip. I'm still my throat and all that stuff. I'm not feeling the best. I'm trying to get through them a bit better. Be a trooper.
But we're going to be here tomorrow with a very special live stream tomorrow, Tuesday Tech Talk, with a case study, an amazing person, a little bit a mix of all of our shows in one. All that tomorrow. So very exciting. Hope you can make it. Tell everybody, share with your friends, and come back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern.
I think you're going to find it very interesting, guys. A lot of you have been asking, how do you do this? How do you do that? You're going to see a lot of live examples of kind of overhauling a channel, for lack of a better term. Well, wait, if Andrew is sick, does that mean we are going to get a computer virus? Yes, you will. Guaranteed, Jason. That's what I was saying.
Pilot Ryan, congratulations! The company is flying him and his show out to Minnesota for an interview in a couple of weeks. Brand deals turning into relationships.
That is absolutely fantastic. Congratulations to you. That is so
well
cool.
Deserved. Yes. Thank you. Oh, thank you for telling us that. That's amazing. Thank you everybody for sticking with us.
Echinacea honey cough drops. Yeah, I was on. I've been using these to get by. I felt they were helping me a bit this time because when we're on the live stream, they're smaller, but there's still the vapors getting to me. So I'm hoping it works.
Thank you for all the questions and thank you for being in the chat today. That was amazing. Thank you.
And thank you guys so much. And please hit the like button on your way out, guys. It really, really does help us out a lot. You guys are absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for coming, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care and be well. Bye now.